All right. What is going on, everybody? Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for patiently waiting and rocking with me. You know how it is. Sometimes, real life stuff happens. So just got to deal with that stuff and take care of everything because I don't want to have any interruptions when I'm trying to rock. So we here. We here. Happy Saturday to everybody. You know how we start the morning, or should I say the afternoon, because I waited and then, it's a minute. Morning cup of Joe or Joanne, either way. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Um, yeah, happy Saturday, everybody. Weather is beautiful today on the East Coast, from what I can tell. Definitely in New York. The New York area, it's gonna be 81 degrees, nice, sunny, cool breeze, not a lot of humidity. What more can you ask for? You know what I mean? This is if it could be like this anywhere between 75 and 85 all year round, sunny skies, rain here and there, you know, that's what I'm talking about. That's my stuff. That's my jam. Anyway, hope y'all doing okay. Appreciate y'all as always. Um, Salute to everybody. As I always say, I appreciate you guys for always showing support, love, and rocking with me and John and still Nick fans and everything we got going on. So you know what? Let's just knock this out the way right now. We're gonna hit the intro. We'll come back. We'll start chopping it up. I like it. It works for me. All right, we'll be right back after this. Oh, we're back. Yeah. My bad. I always get caught up. Anyway, salute to you guys once again. Appreciate y'all. Let me shout out the chat real quick before we get going. Walter Blackman in the building. Salute to you, my brother. Appreciate you as always. It was great to have you, check in with us on Monday. If you guys haven't checked out the Monday show, please do. It was a really good conversation. We had the Morning Brew Sports crew on, and every time we get together, it's a bunch of laughs. It's a good time, man. It was really enjoyable. Also, we got the return of Jose. You guys have been rocking with Still Nick fans for a minute. Jose has been an integral part of what we've been doing here. And so he's back. So, on the Monday night show, you'll see him, doing the producing thing in the background, doing his thing. Maybe we'll get him to come on, and, here and there if he wants to. He's a shy guy. Anyway, so Jose's back. Louisiana Knicks is in the building. Salute. What's good? Appreciate you, bro. Alan Alford is in the building. Salute. What's good? Thank you. Blessings to you and yours as well. Yeah, and I just wanted to give you guys just an update from my standpoint. I've reached out. I don't know what's going on. So that's all I can say. That's my update. I apologize. I wish I knew more. I don't know what's going on. Hope the dude is okay. And there's no issues like health wise and anything like that. But yeah, I can't get a hold of him. So like I said, I hope he's doing okay. But if I do speak to him or he reaches out or whatever, I'll definitely let him know that people have been asking and thinking about him. So well, we see this guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. What's up, Andy? Always a pleasure, brother. You know what? Something tells me we're going to have a good conversation today. Shot Powers is in the building. Salute to Knicks Real Talk with Shot Powers and Divine. Please go like, comment, subscribe, support them over there. You know what I mean? It's going to be a long NBA season, and the Knicks are going to have a good year. Believe me, I feel good about it. Julian Blum is in the building. Salute. What's good? Hey, man. Nah, man. Listen, you got to do what you got to do, brother. Just be safe out there. Inside Sources in the building. Salute. What's good? Appreciate you. Thank you for being here and rocking. My guy Wiz is in the building. Salute, Wiz. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate you. Kareem Grant is in the building. Salute. What's good, twin? Stream Elements always holding us down. Stream Elements being in the background working, man. Animal Lex is here. Salute. David L is in the building. Salute. D Coolest 718 is here. Salute. Appreciate you. And to anybody who may be watching that hasn't had a chance to jump in the chat or doesn't feel comfortable, salute to you as well. Smash that like button. Show your love. Yeah, I gotta start getting back on the like train. Get them likes up, man. We need to make sure that algorithm is pop. There's a lot of new shows, you know, whether it be Nick related or sports related. They start pushing the other shows down, man. We got to get them that algorithm working for our benefit as well. BX Mel is in the building. Salute. What's good? Appreciate you. Yes, Kareem, and welcome back, Jose. That's right. My guy is back. Yes. All right. So, without further ado, let me bring my guy in here. Andy, what's good, brother?
Salute, Ron. Happy to be on. Sorry for my voice. I don't know if it's going through so well. Got, a little bit of a sore throat because of the weather here. It's like over 90 degrees, storms every day. So, wow. It's hot, then it's a storm every day. So, the AC is, going out heavy. Then you got to cool off and stuff like that. So, my voice might be a little bit sore.
Nah, man, you sound good. You sound great. Don't just understand you sound great, so you don't have to over project or whatever, make you feel worse. You good?
Thank you, man.
Let me see here. Let me move this over. Okay, I think that's good. All right. Yeah, man. So everything good on your end? How's the family? Everybody straight?
Yeah, everybody's great. Really busy. This last month was like I didn't have a chance to put up a new episode on Netflix to watch. So I was working around the clock and stuff like that. Many changes, developments in my company. So I had to put a tab on it and do what's more important than some podcasting. But as you see, I'm here with you today. So happy to be back.
Yeah, no, that's good though. I mean, listen, busy is better than not busy, I guess. That's
that's
true. Yeah. So I'm glad to hear it. All right. Well, I mean, the NBA schedule has been released, folks. And the only bad thing that I have with the NBA schedule is that when for content purposes, when you're trying to chop it up, it's really big, pause. But it's like it ain't easy. So I'm trying to make it look, as viewable as possible for everybody. I'm not loving it though. I gotta tell you, it's like hard to really. If I broke it up in pieces, then it'd be great. But I'm trying to get capture the whole schedule, and I'm not loving it. So, but we'll try to make it work. And if it don't work, and I see that it looks too crazy, then I'll just pull up like another schedule that kind of shows things in a better light, because it looks a little wild, a little wonky here. But yeah, man, what are you, before we get into the schedule, before knowing anything, and this ain't the prediction show, but do you think that the Knicks will be able to win more games than they won last year, Andy?
I hope so. I hope so, and I think it's possible. It depends how we start the season for me, because a couple of L's more than expected at the beginning might put maybe not some pressure, but if you fall back at the beginning, it's hard to go up and get those few W's more late in the season than last time, right? So if your goal is to get more W's from the start, you got to jump out hot and start the season really well. You don't want to be down a couple of games under 500 and then, you know, try to make the push. You better push from the beginning. Every game counts, as I always say, and, you know, doesn't change this season.
That's true. That's definitely true. You ain't lying about that. That is very important for them to get off to a good start. You know, who knows, man? It's no telling. It's not going to be handed to them. So they got to step up and play the way they're supposed to. We'll see. I'm feeling good about it. I think they will. But you know, it still remains to be seen. We got to see what they actually look like. This is really funky. Don't mind me, guys. I'm just like looking at this, and I'm like, I hope this shows up okay for everybody. I had to cut the NBA logo's head off. Like, oh, it's murder. I'm sorry, it's not good. I try to make it look as good as I can, though. So, I wonder if you know, if I should do this first instead of us getting into the NBA schedule, because I want to spend some time there. Let's just start off with Mr. RJ Barrett. Yeah, let's start off with that first, and then we can get into, you know, JB and Josh Hart, and then we'll come into the schedule that way, because I think the schedule is going to take up a lot of time.
And the rest of the Knicks in the World Cup.
Oh. Shout out to Andy, bro. Always keeping us right, keeping us humble. Don't forget the other Knicks. That's a fact. You right. You right, brother. You right. Yeah, and actually that's good. I'm glad that you're here, because I'll be honest with you. This is my own opinion about it. I don't know if anybody else is experiencing this. I'm not having the greatest of time being able to find out how other teams are doing and check stats and stuff. It's very hard to get box scores and stuff. I'm trying to find out what's happening in these games, and FIBA's not doing me any justice, brother. But I wanted to ask you, let's start off with that. How do you, because I know you're probably, you know, following things a little closer. How are some of the other international teams with players from the NBA doing? In particular, France with Fournier. How do you think that's been going so far?
Yeah, Ron, just to start, why are you having these problems? Because, you know, these games are like, you know, pre-World Cup games, so just there are scrimmages, warm-up games, and stuff like that. Most of these games just don't even have you know, crowds, right? Because it's like close scrimmage, so they don't have those full box scores and stuff like that. Some of the teams participated in some tournaments in Greece and France. In France, they called it the summer French tour or something like that, and they played like 3-4 teams. Okay. Some teams met up in Dubai and play, you know, like 3-4 teams went to Dubai. They had a mini tournament there, right, to have those 3-4 games in a week. And I think, you know, that's why, because that's basically like you have 4 teams like AAU, right? They rent literally the same hotel and they go sit out there, rent a gym the whole day, play 2 games a day or stuff like, I mean, like if there's 4 teams, they play, you know, one versus another, and the other day they swap it up, and the third day, you know, they do something like that. Meanwhile, Poland and a couple other teams are in the pre-qualifying tournament because they still didn't advance into the Olympics. So if you're not playing in the World Cup, you gotta advance to the Olympics by the pre-qualification tournament. And for example, Poland won 3 games, and they're going to be playing Bosnia and Herzegovina tomorrow. Bosnia has Yusuf Nurkic, Zazan Musa, the former net. They got Luka Garza there. So there's 3 players from the NBA. Meanwhile, Poland doesn't have any players in the NBA, but they won in the group stage. So, you know, winning this means they're advancing to the final tournament to get into the Olympics. And that's going to be a huge accomplishment for them. But listen, they won the first game a couple of days ago. I'm hoping they're going to be able to win the second game. And you know, I'm going to be able to watch Polish international team play a little bit basketball. Last tournament in the Euro Cup last season, they beat Luka Doncic's Slovenia, so that was a major surprise. And they advanced further than Slovenia, so they're on a roll. They got a new coach from like a year only, so the perspectives are bright, even to watch some good basketball here in Poland.
Nice.
And like you asked about Team France. Well, they're unbeaten in the pre-qualification games. So I think they play like Japan. Those weren't. They play, I think, Lithuania twice, which Rokas was playing versus France. One of those games, Rokas he didn't make a bucket off the field. He had like 7 points, 7 out of 8 from the free throw line. He played well as a point guard. They got a couple of good guys there. Iggy Brasdeikis, Mindaugas Kuzminskas, Jonas Valanciunas. Sabonis is not playing for that team this offseason, so he has a pause. A couple of big names actually from European teams don't play. Giannis isn't playing. The Joker isn't playing. Luka is playing actually, so I'm surprised. Maybe not surprised because he's a competitor and he doesn't want to have a day off. But and I don't know if you saw his off season body transformation. He looks way lighter. Like he looks like he's supposed to look as an NBA player, and I'm shocked. Not gonna lie, because he's not that chubby kid from a season ago, and I would think that it might take him like 2 years to get into that kind of a shape. But I think that Jordan contract, for his shoes, made him work a little bit more. So I'm happy about that. I don't know if you saw the marketing that they did on. They call it the Luka Bind Cup or something like that. It's going to be a 3-on-3 tournament. They set up 2 courts on water on a lake, and it's going to be cameraed from videoed from drones and stuff like that. So it's going to be super a super event. I don't know what's going to happen if someone blocks the ball out of bounds because it's going to go to the lake, but I don't know. They probably figured out that joint before me. So but it's going to be a couple of things, even except the World Cup happening. And like the World Cup is starting on the 25th of August, if I'm correct. And smoothing back to the more Knicks content, straight up to RJ. RJ's Team Canada first game is versus Evan Fournier's France. So first game in the group stage, and I think actually they have the best group. The best teams in the group stage, because it's France, it's Canada, it's Latvia without KP, unfortunately, and Lebanon. So Lebanon, not a competition for those teams, but Latvia with KP could stir a couple of things up. But since KP is playing, I'm expecting Canada and France to advance, because 2 teams from each group advance further. So
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, listen, man, thank you, Andy, for giving us the lowdown and the breakdown on what's going on internationally. Because, I'll be honest, and I know I'm not the only one. We don't all, I know I don't know exactly what's going on. And thank you for explaining why it's harder to find some of the box scores and information on these games. Because I was looking, I was like, this is weird, but hey, it is what it is, man. We'll go with the flow, and hopefully maybe somehow each year we progress and it gets a little, each time we do something with the FIBA World Cup, it gets a little better and it's a little bit more exposure for us to understand how other teams are doing in these other, mini qualifiers and stuff like that. So we'll see.
Yeah, and just to I think that was because these were like scrimmages, right? I think the World Cup is going to be way more marketed. I know that there's a website called Courtside 1891. That's you can get like a league pass there for the whole season, and I actually looked it up. It's like around $30. And you can see each and every game from the World Cup, but you can also see other sports, WNBA and stuff like that. I don't know how does that work in the States, because you might have some blackouts and stuff like that, because you're able to get services in the States. But for all of the rest of the world, I think that's the page to go to watch those games.
That's pretty dope. And listen, man, look, if you love basketball, they're playing some really good basketball over there. And it's just about the game. It's about the sport. You may not know some of the players or some of the names, and the faces look different, but as we can see, I knew kind of what to expect. And granted, like, we're looking at Team USA and they're playing and they're beating teams by 20, or they beat Spain by 10. And then yesterday, I think they won by 20 or something like that. But even though it looks like that in the end, for the most part, a lot of these games have been competitive, but USA is a very stacked team. So they should be able to, beat teams by like 10, 15 or more. But just overall, the competition has looked pretty good to me. And some of these players, like, I was very concerned, even like just throwing an example out there, Puerto Rico. I'm like, I don't know any players on Puerto Rico. From back in the day, I knew guys like Carlos Arroyo and stuff like that. But like, even some of them guys on Puerto Rico's team look pretty good. I know, they couldn't deal with the amount of NBA players that was on USA's team. But for first half, they played them pretty well, and they showed some stuff. So it's very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, Ron. And just to add from my point of view, listen, for me, if United States doesn't win by 20, it should be counted as a loss for them. not gonna lie, bro. They should win this tournament without even a doubt. Like 20 points up in the first quarter, and then just run the game through. The talent, the circumstances around the basketball, how the sports is viewed in the States and around the world, it's such a gap that, like I said, it shouldn't be even a discussion. United States should win this, like I said, more than 20 points each and every game. And I'm saying I should say even more points, but I know that other teams are catching up. So as Spain, Argentina, France and stuff, they got NBA talent on that roster, but that it's rarely that they have, like, every guy is from the NBA, right? France doesn't have that, Spain doesn't have that, and those are two major teams that might maybe not eliminate the States, or maybe even eliminate the States if it's going to be in the bracket phase, but they're going to cause problems for them, definitely. Greece, Slovenia, those are guys that have 1, 2, 3 guys from the NBA. So it depends on the day, but so does, Bahamas. They got Eric Gordon, they got DeAndre Ayton, they got one more guy from the NBA. And for example, look at the Bahamas. It's a small island, right? Poland has like 39 million people, and they don't have one player in the NBA. They have Jeremy Sohan, but he doesn't play for the national team since, he's a young guy on the Spurs, and the Spurs didn't let him play in the qualification tournament. Probably next year, if they're going to play, like the finals tournament, they're going to allow him. But, also Team France, they didn't let Wemby play for Team France. So Wembayama is practicing, down there in San Antonio. So, there's still teams that aren't fully stacked to play versus the United States, but not gonna lie, this United States team is also not top tier, best players from the NBA on their roster too. But it's still way better than what the rest of the world have, right?
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Shout out to I see a few more people join the chat. Keith Turner, salute to you. What's good? Appreciate you. William, all the way from Brazil, is in the building. Salute. What's good? Dwayne Dennis is in the building. Shout out to Craig. What's good, Craig? Good to see you, brother. Worldwide L, what's good, brother? Please, guys, if you haven't already done so, these guys they took a little bit of a break because of real life stuff. Hardwill was traveling and doing things with his family. His nephew is joining the UConn basketball team. So a lot going on with that, and just
Hardwill getting that agent, license. Right?
He's definitely getting his agent bag on. So salute to him and all that. And then obviously, Worldwide L was planning a wedding. got married, and doing the damn thing. So now they're back, and the show is back. So check out For the Love of the Game. That's right, the number 4 OUR Love of the Game. They're back. Like, comment, subscribe, show them love, man, and let's get them back to where they was, because anytime we take real life breaks, sometimes the fans, the fellow people, they forget. Hey, oh wait, For the Love of the Game, we back. Yeah, so just come on back, man. Anyway, show them some love, bro. JJ's in the building. Salute. What's good, man? Listen, JJ, what can we do, bro? What can we do? What can we do? Just all I can say is, maybe we're in a situation where if Pete Alonso doesn't throw a player's first hit into the stands, maybe we won't make a back page. We in the back page for everything bad. It's just horrible. Whatever. I'm done. Anyway, all right. And for those who are asking, JJ says, salute Ron, Andy, happy Saturday. By the way, D is good. I was in contact with him. So there you go. And at least we know he's all right. I mean, maybe his issue is not with life. Maybe his issue is with Ron. I don't know. Did I say too much? I might have. But anyway, let's move on. So yeah. So but that's good. Good. I'm glad that he's okay. Paris Doug is in the building. Salute. What's good? Appreciate you, brother. Always a pleasure. Sam Grandison is in the building. Salute. Hope you're doing well. And law school is treating you right. He says, still tuned in while we back in these case readings. Ooh, boy. Well, hey, whatever gets you through, bro. I guess my conversation is boring enough to not take you off of what you're actually focusing on. You'll be all right. All right. So okay. All right. So I mean that's kind of a little breakdown, a little lowdown on the FIBA situation on the whole, right? So let's get into the particular guy who's on. I guess I gotta say it's got to be a good thing when everybody's talking about you, whether it be good or bad. But listen, everybody's talking about RJ Barrett, so I would feel good if I was him. I mean, so it's not sometimes you got to look at it as a good thing. But Andy, what's your thoughts? I'm glad Andy's here because Andy's a little bit skeptical, right? And I understand it's fair. RJ Barrett has been terribly inconsistent for a lot of his career. He had one good season, really good season, I would say, for a young player as a Knick. That was season 2, right? Very efficient, played, pretty good. But ever since then, he's been terribly inconsistent and actually taking a drop in a lot of stuff. But, we saw a little bit of a light switch turn on. Drew Hanlon said they worked on some stuff right before the playoffs. And then they tweaked it a little bit during the playoffs, whatever that means. I don't know. He could be just blowing smoke. Yeah. We did something. Now that's why who knows? But he said that they worked on something and they saw something in RJ's shot. Okay. But I mean, it was a little bit more than just RJ's shot, because I don't think RJ was shooting that great in the playoffs. He was driving to the basket a lot, making a lot of layups, being very aggressive, but like outside shooting, not that big of a difference to me. But he was playing a little bit more physical, playing with a little bit more intensity. His defense stepped up a little bit more. For RJ, that's a good thing. And then now we see him in the FIBA games, and he looks like some of that has carried over. So the same thing he was trying to do, be aggressive, getting to the basket, he's going left. Now, all those people that say he can't go right, he doesn't care anymore. It looks like now he said, I'm going left. I don't care if I got to go up and under. I'm still going left. So, Andy, what do you think about what you've seen so far from RJ from the playoffs to the FIBA games? Do you think that he's actually turning a corner, or it's just because of the level of competition? Once we get into the NBA, things can change.
Well, I think it's a little bit of everything you said. First, the level of competition, of course, it's not NBA level. Second of all, those were scrimmage games, and in one of those games, before he went to that great game that he had, literally the game before, the Team Canada, I'm pretty sure they lost that game, and RJ didn't play a minute in the fourth quarter. And they also have a stacked team. Team Canada is literally, I think every player is from the NBA, like just like the United States team. So it wasn't, that they didn't want to play good guys. They just put up on the bench and stuff like that. He didn't get minutes in the fourth quarter when the game was on the line. So let's not forget about that. But I know that Knicks fans don't want to hear that. They just want to see it, RJ's perfect game and the great second game after that and stuff like that. What worries me more is, like you said about the interview from Drew Hanlon. There was a question, or maybe not a question, just a statement from him that they were working on certain thing and they wanted to improve on that way, but they decided because the improvement wasn't coming there, they skipped over it and they started working on his strengths. And it's like you said, that he doesn't know how to drive right, he's going to go left, so he's going to go left. And that's exactly one of those things, like the follow-up thing that if we wanted RJ to be a shooter, he ain't going to be shooting, he's just going to be a driving player, right? And at some point that's going to bite him in the behind, because you have to be able to shoot in today's NBA to create all of those driving lanes and other passing lanes and stuff like that. If you're going to be a one-dimensional player and not play perfect defense or above average defense, it's going to be a problem for you. And I understand that it's only off-season work that you're going to see the development, because tweaking a shot, for me it's hard to understand how do they tweak a shot in the playoffs. You don't have the time for thousands of repetitions to change a shot. And Ron, just imagine yourself. You're going to to play some basketball and you're shooting one kind of motion. Like, it's like you're born with it, right? And now a guy comes in and says, like, listen, spread these two fingers on the ball and think about it every time you make that shot. It's not going to be like, okay, I'm going to take 25 shots and I'm going to be having a new form. You got to take thousands of shots so it becomes natural for you. And for example, for me, saying that they tweaked something in the playoffs and that's why he played better, he didn't play that much better. Let's not kid ourselves. Basketball, for one, is a team game, and if you're expecting one player to change the whole output of the game, he better be an MVP candidate. RJ isn't that, and him playing a good game in the elimination game, he still didn't play a perfect game. It's not like you couldn't put blame on RJ because we got eliminated by the Heat in that last game. And still Knicks fans were blaming, Julius Randle for not showing up in that game. So, for me, it's kind of, weird. And of course, I'm not saying that I don't like RJ. I think I'm more of a realist than a pessimist even. I always said that I don't see the talent in RJ to be, like a high, talented player. But I think he's one of those players that works harder than the rest of the league. And that's a great thing to have. But, about that talent, I'm not that sure. You can see that he plays more methodical, strong, basketball than those eloquent, flexible moves and moves with swagger and stuff like that. That, he's not a player like Luka, and Luka is not that, physical, right? But he can dance around in the paint and get to the hoop. You don't see that coming on from RJ Barrett. You rather, like you said, goes to the left. If it requires a pump fake, he's going to do a pump fake. If it requires him to bully someone, he's going to bully someone. But there's not that much talent in that. You can go to the gym, work out, get stronger, and you can play that same game on the court, me or you, right? And I think that's his problem. He puts in the hours of work, but he's not getting the results as fast as these other guys. And like I said, I think that's why his ceiling is a little bit lower than we expected him on the draft day. But it's not for us to judge. Let's hope he's gonna get as best as he can with his skill set and help the team, because that's, I think, the most important thing. You can be the third guy and still be one of the most valuables on the team, right? If you just know your role, know your place in the totem pole of scoring and other responsibilities of a teammate. And I think that's going to be also a great thing for him. So if the Knicks are going to be winning, everybody's going to say RJ Barrett is a good player. So let's keep it that way.
That's fair. And I understand your opinion about it. I can't argue with that. And a lot of Knicks fans might share your opinion about RJ. That's it's kind of what he's shown over time, right? So he's been very inconsistent. But I gotta play devil's advocate. Because I know some people I think some people think that I don't like RJ all of a sudden. When every show, I feel like I say RJ's my favorite player on the Knicks, even though I get mad at how he plays sometimes. Doesn't change. But let me do this before I get into me being devil's advocate. Okay. Excuse me. Let me put this link in the chat so people have it, and let me say what's up to some people that I have seen might have joined, and pop it in the chat, showing some love. Shout out to Knicks 100. What's good? Appreciate you. And you know what? He said, but he does go right, Ron. When he hit the game winner versus the Celtics, where was he going, left or right? But first off, Knicks 100, when did that happen? You know how long ago that was? And no one said that RJ doesn't go right on occasion. He just goes left, a big margin of the time. And so people classify his game as all he does is go left. He goes left a lot. Usually an NBA player that has a good skill set tries to mix it up because they want to keep the defense on their toes. But for RJ, it doesn't really matter. To be honest, look, I'm going to say one thing about RJ Barrett, and people are always saying, what does RJ Barrett do well? I've said this multiple times in recent shows. RJ Barrett can get to the basket anytime he wants. Whether or not he's going left or not, he still gets there. Now, it's about him to finish. It's about him not to shoot, a layup in front of 2 or 3 different people. That's another story. But he can get there. So that's not an issue. Even though he's going left, people know he's going. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying now it looks like he is really going left with I don't care. I'm still going here. And it looks like it's working. He's doing better at finishing his layups. All right. But we'll get more into it. Shaw Legacy in the building. Salute. Hey, what's good? Real talk, real takes over fake debates. What's good, my guy? SB in the building. Salute, brother. Knicks won today. Not yet, but they will. Appreciate you, brother. Always good to see you, man. Boulevards, what's going on, Bully? Hope you're doing well, my brother. Let me see where I just had him. There he is. Look at him. Backstage too. Underage adolescents. How you doing? I'm sorry, that's BBD. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. Supreme Sister Low. What up, Chap Low in the building? Salute. Will Salkin is here. Salute. Yeah, I think that's all the new people that might have jumped in and joined. Let me pop Chop Low up. Chop,
what up, bro?
What's happening?
I ain't seen Andy in a long time. Salute Ron, the Green Eye Bandit. God bless the chat. Knicks family.
What's going on, brother? Good to see you as always.
Good to see you, gentlemen, as well. Blessings.
Yes, always. Dre is in the building. Salute. Yes. And that's a good point. He says Anthony Edwards was balling for Team USA in the Emirates, and like he wants the Saudi money that the soccer players got out there. Yeah, he's been doing. Look, Anthony Edwards, I don't know. Look, maybe it's the fact that he's playing with his peers, and it's like bringing out the best. He knows he got to step up his game, because you showcasing your talent too in front of fellow players. So it's good to see. I like it. Cam from the Kickback is in the building. Salute. Happy Saturday to you. All right. So here's me playing devil's advocate. Let me just get it out there. And like I said, I'm very impartial. I agree with what Andy's saying, but there's the other side of me that has to point out a couple things because out of sight, out of mind, we forget certain things. First off, Cleveland Cavaliers series in the playoffs. This is playoff basketball, high level of competition, no matter how it looked. In the closeout, in the last two games of that series, the Knicks won 3 in a row, right? But in game, let's see, was that game? Yep, game 3. RJ had 26 points. Now, he was 0 of 6 from 3, but he shot 9 of 18 from the field, 50%. And I like to say that if it wasn't for RJ in that game, we probably still could have won, but it would have been real close. Like we would have won by 1 or 2 or something. But his points really mattered. And he hit his points in really big spots, like in the second half of the ball game, right? Same thing in the closeout game. Well, it was game 5 overall, but the fourth win for the Knicks. He had 21 points. He shot 7 of 13 from the field, which is fantastic. RJ shoots like that. Wow. He was 2 of 4 from 3, 50%, and he was 5 of 6 from the free throw line. A really solid game from RJ for 21 points. And those were very important. He wasn't the only reason because Brunson had a good game that game too, but it was like you already know, we wasn't getting much from Grimes, except in that game he played good defense. We didn't get anything from Quickly, really. I think Quickly was already hurt at that point. And Julius wasn't able to do anything at that point. He might have been hurt too. No, I think he might have played, but it was like he wasn't there for the most part. So RJ was important in that. Now we get to a series with a little bit more competition. And you guys remember 1, 2, 3, 4. Game 4. No, I'm sorry. It's game 2. Game 2, RJ Barrett had 24 points on 8 of 17 shooting, 47% from the field. He was 5 of 9 from 3, 55%. He helped us win that game. We won 111-105. So I think RJ played good. His defense was a lot better, more active. So that was helpful. Game 6, was it 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, game 5. We won 112-103. RJ had 26 points, 8 of 17 from the field on 47% shooting. If RJ shoots over 46% from the field, that's a great day. 3 of 8 from 3, 37.5%. So that's another good number for RJ because RJ's 3-point shooting has been kind of rough this past season. And he was 7 of 8 from the free throw line for 87% for 26 points and 7 rebounds. I think RJ played good against the Heat, and I think that was a big reason why we won that game. So I get it for the course of the season, very inconsistent, but I think in the playoffs, something did change as far as how effective he was, and I think he did affect winning. Because, the other thing that we talk about with NBA players, especially on the Knicks, and how we classify them is do they impact winning? I think in the playoffs, RJ impacted winning. I'm not talking about prior to the playoffs or anything. I would have to do a deep dive into that. But in the playoffs, I think he helped us win 4 games throughout the course of the playoffs. Him personally, I think he helped. So that's my opinion. What do you think about that, Andy? Go.
I never disagreed about that. So,
okay.
My points about RJ were more overall, right, about him. Of course he's gonna have good games, but if you are gonna let a player, what was the perfect name of the stat? Usage rate, right? If you're gonna have a player take shots, have the ball in his hands, of course he's gonna produce more, right? It's the same thing that if I could say that if you would give Quickly, the shot opportunities that RJ had, maybe he would score even more, right? But that's a lot of ifs and stuff like that. So for me, the question is, what's going to be RJ's role in the next season? Because the role is different on Team Canada, the role is going to be different on the Knicks. Question is, how is Tibbs going to be willing to use him? If he's going to run different plays, if he's going to give him an open, lane to the hoop, open side to play, one-on-one and stuff like that. There's plenty of things that Tibbs still didn't use as far as, the abilities of RJ. But that goes around the board. You know, for me, he didn't use Fournier correctly. For me, he didn't use RJ, Julius correctly. He definitely didn't use Mitch correctly because we didn't see alley-oops to Mitch, which that's his only weapon on the offensive end, right? Because he has no post moves, he has no shot. So, why not, keep the defense, like you said, on their heels and stuff like that, on their toes. With Mitch, of course, it's going to be more of a threat if you're going to be, thinking back in the head that maybe they can lob it to Mitch. But, the second half of the season, it was like the lobs to Mitch and the alley-oops came like literally in garbage time or with bench players. So they just literally went off the script to get Mitch a bucket like that. And you can say that about literally every player in the league, maybe except those MVP candidates, which they have a green light since the play is inbounded, right? So if they get the ball, they can do anything that they want, and nobody's going to judge them. I think that's totally different with Tibbs. And it's not like I'm blaming Tibbs because there's only one ball on the court, so he can't give it in one possession to 3 of his best players, right? But it's still kind of on him about using players in certain ways that they're most comfortable, putting them in positions to score the easiest and stuff like that. The best thing that me and Sim were talking for like 3 years now. Why doesn't Tibbs or even previous coaches, why didn't they play the pick and roll game between RJ and Julius? You got 2 best players. You got to have only 2 defenders. You clear up the side and you play, the pick and roll game. We rarely see RJ and Julius playing a 2-man game, even if it's not a pick and roll, handoff, whatever. RJ and Julius are literally on the opposite sides of the court every time that we play, right? Meanwhile, look at the other teams. Jamal Murray with Jokic, they literally play on the same side of the court. The rest of the team is shooters on the other side of the court. And there's every team that has combinations of those guys. And, I think it's the easiest way to actually play basketball in today's game. Have 2-3 stars play small game on one side of the court, leave your 2 shooters and role players on the other side of the court, and see how how that develops. We never use that. We rarely play a pick and roll game with Mitch diving to the hoop because he doesn't get passes. So, a pick and roll game between Brunson and any other, it's just the start of the play. The play develops down the road, but it rarely ends in like 1-2 passes. So, and I'm not blaming Tibbs because it's hard to blame a coach that, has his philosophy and stuff like that. But, if we ain't going to pile up those wins, someone's going to finally look at Tibbs from that management standpoint, because fans look at Tibbs and they're mad, but you're gonna have fans. If you win, they're gonna be mad. If we lose, they're gonna be mad. If we win by 50 and RJ doesn't score a bucket, they're gonna be mad. So there's gonna be so many type and fan bases just between us Knicks fans that sometimes at least one fan is gonna be always mad. Doesn't matter if we win the chip. He's going to say like, oh, we should have kept that guy because he would have a ring now with the Knicks. So.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, you make a good point there. I don't know why. I mean, that's interesting. I don't know why Tibbs hasn't, tried to do pick and roll play with, Julius and RJ. And that's interesting. The only thing I could think, I mean, I don't know if that makes us, I don't really, I'm not a basketball X and O's guy. I don't really pay attention to it. I only played organized ball myself personally for about 2 years. So I don't really know so much about how to actually perform certain plays and what's the right personnel. The only thing I was thinking is maybe it's because you're dealing with, Julius is the big in the pick and roll. And so usually the person who's not the big is a guard type. And I think that when you're orchestrating the pick and roll, there has to be a little bit of speed to it, and maybe because RJ is a little slower footed, I don't know, because the point of the pick and roll is someone goes depends on you flash and go, depending on, well, not flash and go, but so off the roll someone's rolling, and you could do the pick and roll with either one of them. In this case, like RJ could initiate it or Julius can initiate it. But if RJ's rolling, like he's not the fastest off the roll, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I have no clue.
And Ron, basically, the basic, come out of the pick and roll is like, the guard has the ball at the beginning, he gets the screen or he passes or he takes the shot, right? You could argue that RJ isn't a good mid-range shooter and he's not going to take the shot, or Julius doesn't run a roll to the hoop. He's basically, he gets the ball, but he's, taking a step back and a mid-range shot, right? But there's so many solutions to the pick and roll in today's game that I'm not asking them to play, the pick and roll and the big man has to roll to the hoop or stuff like that. You got tons of plays that can come out of that play. We just maybe not never, but we saw it so vividly that you can't even say that we use that play.
It's true.
And they're playing for what? It was like 4 seasons they're playing together. So I'm not asking them to play it every game, but if you're not going to try it, you're not going to see the results. And I'm not saying try and get in the practice facility because, if the bench squad that's playing versus the starters, they know what they're going to play, they're going to defend it totally different, right?
Right.
So that's just an easy thing. But like I said, 2 main guys never worked together, and we extended both of them. So if you didn't see them working together, there was an impasse, then one of them should go. But now we extended both of them. So my question is if we're ever going to see them working together on offensive end, except cross-court passes that, anyone else could stand there and make that shot, take that shot at least, right? So,
yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, look, maybe now that Tibbs was able to really get guys to hone in and focus on his system, shortening the rotation, guys knowing their role. Maybe now, and also the fact of having Josh Hart and then now getting DiVincenzo, solid basketball players who are smart out there on the court. Maybe he'll be a little bit more comfortable with opening up the offense and trying different schemes, different plays that he wasn't doing before, because he knows that if it don't work, the guys can adjust quickly because they know how to play basketball. And they've seen, or at least Hart has been in his system and knows, how to get back to what. Because the other thing about trying different things on the court is when a defense comes at you or they understand what you're doing and they stop it, you can look to the coach for answers, but the players have to make the adjustments too on the court on the fly. Like, okay, well, this ain't working. Or I can see that we're about to try the pick and roll and this guy's cheating, he's hedging or whatever. It's not going to work. You don't want to just carry out a play if you already see that it's going to be stopped, So you got to have smart enough guys out there in the court. And that's one thing that we question the Knicks about. Do we have high IQ players? I think now Jalen Brunson, high IQ type player. Josh Hart, high IQ type player. You may get down on Josh Hart because he's hesitant to do certain things, but it doesn't mean he doesn't know what to do. He just sometimes don't pull the trigger. He don't, you like wonder why he doesn't do this. Okay, it is what it is. DiVincenzo yet to be seen, but I think he's a high IQ player too.
Definitely
so
above.
Yeah, yeah. So I think the Knicks are in really good shape to kind of start opening up things a little bit more and stop having such a vanilla offense, because that vanilla offense, it gets stagnant sometimes when you play a good defense and they know what to expect, and you got to figure something else out to do to be able to score consistently especially in these NBA games nowadays. Shout out to Dre in the chat. Once again, salute. Henry's in the building. Salute to you. And Jonathan Green, I see you. Thank you for tuning in, showing love, and supporting the show. Ron Sarmiento's in the building as well. What's going on, Ron? Appreciate you. So, I just wanted to, when we were talking about this, I'm wondering, guys, shout out to my guy Mega in the building. What's going on, Comega? I was wondering how you guys feel about it, because when Andy was talking, it made me think, do Knicks fans feel like what RJ did, and this is separate, not saying Andy said this. Do Knicks fans feel like what RJ did in the playoffs, it's nice, but it doesn't make up for how bad he was in the regular season? I'm curious to know how Knicks fans feel about that. And so, I mean, if you guys want to chime into the chat, do you respect what RJ's done in the season and think that he's getting better or understands how he needs to play? Or do you think that doesn't really matter because the whole regular season he played like trash? Not trash, but you know what I mean, very inconsistent. So let me know what you guys think about that because I'm curious. Jiggaman Porto's in the building. Salute. What's good? Appreciate you. Always. Listen, man, like I said, once again, if you guys haven't checked it out, Jiggaman and Heck were on Still Knicks Fans SKF Weekly this past Monday night. We had a great time, really good conversation. It was a fun laugh-filled show. So definitely check that out. We had a great time. And shout out to Phil who couldn't make it, but we will get all three of them on at some point. Knicks Morning Brew, guys, tune in to everything they got going on over there. I'm sorry, and I shouldn't even say Knicks Morning Brew. They're a network, so it's Morning Brew Sports. So you got no excuse. I said this on Monday. If you like football, if you like hockey, if you like basketball, if you like baseball, don't matter what you like. They got it all now over there. They got a show for everybody. So definitely go show them some love and support them. J Tap says no, he played like trash. So you don't respect what he did in the playoffs because it doesn't change how he played in the regular season. Okay, I understand. I respect it. Okay. Anybody else weigh in? How you feel about that question? Do you respect what RJ Barrett did in the playoffs, even if he struggled a lot and was inconsistent in the regular season? Or are you like, hey, he's turning the corner? Just let me know how you think about it. I'm just curious. Always, Jigga. Appreciate you, brother. Bricks Nation says RJ Randall and Mitch front court is a hazardous offense. Maybe some truth there.
Yeah, definitely some.
Yeah, there definitely might be some truth there. Let me see. Okay. David L says Vroom is a bucket. That's logic. And for new people who don't know, Vroom is Julius Randle. So Keith Turner says, I just think what RJ did in the playoffs wasn't that fantastic. I just explained to you that he might have helped us win 4 different games. I mean, and I don't mean like, hey, 3 guys scored and RJ scored well. No, I mean, it's Jalen Brunson and RJ Barrett. Like Jalen couldn't do it on his own. RJ was a big part of that. And in some cases, when RJ scored in the second half, he was the one scoring the big baskets down the stretch. Jalen might have carried us throughout most of the game, but RJ was getting some big buckets down the stretch. So you can't deny that he was a big factor in us winning those games. Just saying. Knicks 100 said, but Brunson and Randall don't work as a tandem either. Yeah, I mean, I hear they don't play off of each other. That's true, but I don't think they're different. They don't need to. Like Brunson is a walking bucket himself. He can get his no matter who he's playing with. So I don't know if it matters as much with those two. But for guys like we were already talking about, Randall struggled and RJ's been struggling consistently. Why wouldn't you try to do something like that and see if they could play off of each other? I think that makes sense. Let's see. Ashley Inc. Wiz said RJ's mid-range looks better based on his FIBA performance, and since it is an NBA 3-point range. Okay. Knicks 100 says, see how it's nitpicking. Okay. J Tap says the regular season matters. I'm not falling for the RJ trick bag this year. Okay. Keith Turner says it don't scream greatness. I'm sorry. And Travel Vibes is in the building. Salute, Travel Vibes. Okay. Well, I can't wait for everybody to weigh in, but I said this for a reason. I kind of tricked you guys. I pulled the Uncle Freezy right there out the bag. The reason why I asked you guys that question was to see if you valued RJ's playoff performance over what you saw from him in the regular season, because the playoffs obviously and that's what we play for, right? To get to the playoffs and possibly have a chance of winning a championship. So I wanted to see if you guys valued that. And I'm getting the opinion that so far from who's weighed in that that doesn't mean as much to you. You want him to play a certain way as a Knick. Like when he's out there on the court, he needs to play a certain way, regardless, every game, and not just the playoffs. So I kind of set this up to do my guy a solid. And I'm surprised I even thought of this. Julius Randle. If what RJ did in the playoffs doesn't matter more than what he did in the regular season, then why does Julius Randle's incredible regular season not matter, even though he had a poor playoff showing? That was why I was thinking about that, because I was like, wow, if people feel like that about RJ and what he did in the playoffs, and that wasn't enough to you, so then for Julius, you shouldn't say because he didn't step up or he had a, coming off of injury, mind you. I'm just throwing him a little pass. Coming off of injury, and he didn't have a good playoff showing. That doesn't negate the fact that he had a great regular season for the Knicks. And if it wasn't for Julius in the regular season, would the Knicks have even made the playoffs? No, I don't think so. I do not think so. I don't care how good JB played. JB would have to score like 40 a night. So I'm just saying, guys, that's just wanted to throw that out there. I was thinking about it and I was like, we got to be fair. We're going to look at one thing one way for one player, but it got to apply to the other player too. So you can't diss Julius, because Julius had a great regular season. All right. So shout out to my guy, the Woogie-ack. What's going on, my brother? I appreciate you. I hope you're doing well. I will be checking in soon. I haven't checked in a minute, man. I hope you're doing good, man. Tell Flame I said what's up. Let me see here. Someone else said something. Okay, J-Tap said his playoff performance should be his floor, not his ceiling. Okay. David L says Vroom's best player tandem was with Evan. Yeah, they did run the pick and roll a lot with those two. They are, or like they called it something else. I'm forgetting the name now.
Two-man game.
Yeah, it was a two-man game. Yeah. And it sometimes, I mean, it was a little clunky in the beginning, but it started to work a little bit. I kind of liked it. Right. Okay, that's fair. Like I would say that's kind of true. In Tibbs's offense, yes. When he was playing, and when Julius and him were playing off of each other, that did open up Evan for more opportunities that I don't know why. Like, listen, we're going to get into that throughout the regular season. I'm sure there's going to be moments where we pull our hair out. I don't know if Tibbs's vanilla offense is the best for opening up someone's game, especially someone who's established already in the NBA. You would think that they could run different plays for Evan Fournier. You would think that they could run back cuts, curls, and screens to open up guys who are struggling from the perimeter. Instead of focusing or allowing everybody just to open up the floor, and then the shots aren't falling, so the floor is not opening up and the defense is just sitting back. How about you run some picks, some back screens, some curls and stuff to get guys easy baskets to open up the shot and whatever. I don't want to get back into that right now. It's like a broken record with Tibbs and that stuff.
Yeah, and Ron, if I can add something,
go ahead, bro.
Watch a game or two when he plays on Team France. His role is totally different. So his role is totally different, and I'm not saying that the Knicks should use Evan Fournier as Team France uses him, because that would be, he would be probably the highest used player on the Knicks. But you see what his game strengths are. Short two-man game, handoff, make a shot, make a drive. Sometimes on Team France, he gets to the cup, and from a straight, easy layup, he passes up for his teammate. So, and I understand that these games are totally different. European game, for Team France's game is more team oriented than the Knicks game, but you can just see how comfortably he moves off screens in that offense and stuff like that. He looks like a kid in the candy store. He can pick. I can go this way. I can go that way. If I cut here, I'm gonna get the ball. If I don't, I can still make a move off that way and stuff like that. He just plays with joy on Team France, and I think, and like I said again, I'm gonna repeat myself. I'm not asking Tibbs, or even never ask Tibbs, to play Evan Fournier as he plays on Team France. But watch one game and you know how you can use a guy totally to his strengths. And it's like asking RJ to be a corner 3-point shooter. That's not his best way to score. So why put him in the corner and make him shoot?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's as simple as that, right? So
I think it's kind of a little bit of a respect level thing. To respect what a player can provide for your team, right? And knowing that the player does have some limitations. But I think, and I've been noticing this over past conversations in this off season, just listening to different Knicks shows and listening to the fans talk and give their opinion or thoughts about Fournier. And I know what Fournier is. He's not a great defender. We already know that. He's not the best person as far as dribbling and breaking down a player and getting to the rim. He's done it, but if you play really tough defense and press him, get up on him, it's harder for him to do something like that. But doesn't change the fact that if you give him some screens, some back cuts and stuff like that, he can get to the rim too. You can help him open up his game, and he can score points. He's got a little floater that he's worked on that can help score some points in the paint area. And then outside of that, if you just give this guy a little daylight, I don't care what nobody says. Look, you can hate Evan Fournier all you want. Give the guy a little daylight, and he's got his shot lined up. Shot's going down more often than not. And once he starts getting cold with it, gets a little rhythm, Evan Fournier is going to be on. So it's just like playing to a guy's strengths and understanding, okay, I know he doesn't play the greatest defense, but let me tell you something to basketball fans in general and to all the Knicks fans. And Wiz, I'm going to get to you in a minute, man. I'm sorry. I'm a little long-winded here, but I've just been thinking about this. And I just haven't said it. If you're in a 9-man rotation, and if you even extend that to 10 and throw Evan Fournier in the mix, Evan Fournier is one player, right? And he's guarding most likely one guy. Even in a switch, okay, it is what it is, but it's still one man, right? You're not going to lose the basketball game because of Evan Fournier. You lose because your team is not playing good overall defense. Because if Evan Fournier is not necessarily stopping his man as much as you'd like him to, if he's leaving some gaps, some holes, that's why it's team defense. That's why you got somebody to help pick him up. And say Evan's guarding the guy gets an easy layup, scores 2 points. You give Evan the ball back on the other end, and he hits a 3. That 2 points is not a big deal. We up 1 because he gave us an extra point. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you use him right, in the end of the game, when you look at how it all played out, Evan's not going to be the reason why you lose the game. Now, if you got a bunch of Evans, you know what I mean? Like if you got Kemba Walker and Evan, and you got RJ Barrett not playing great defense, you got Julius taking games like moments off, that's a whole nother story. That's a different ball of wax. That's all I'm trying to say. There was a way that the Knicks could have used Evan. I just can't believe that we struggled from the perimeter for the whole season for the most part. And you got Evan sitting on the bench, and you couldn't put him in the game and use him in certain circumstances. All right, I'm done. That's my Evan Fournier rant. Wiz, what's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
I'm great, man. Andy, peace, Andy, my man. How you doing? I didn't want to jump on because I just wanted to hear Andy roll because he's dropping his knowledge. I mean, part of it is because I also agree with most of the things he says, so that's why it's tough to say, but Ron, you're defending our players. You're looking out. You're pointing the stuff out. However, even your RJ defense, though, on the playoffs, how many games did you name that RJ did really well in? 4?
4. Yeah.
And how many games we played in the playoffs? 11? Or something like that, right?
Right. About, yeah.
So he did well in less than 4% of the games. So let's talk about inefficiency and consistency. I need him to show up in 7 or 8 games like that, not 4 or 5. So that's the problem where your argument to defend him end up being, kind of like an argument against him because again, he's not consistent and he's inefficient. So when he shows up really well, the RJ we want, and Washington says that should be falling at the ceiling in the games he did well in 4 of 11 games, it means, I'm a math skill, man, it's 7. I mean, I can do subtraction, right? 7 of 11 games, he didn't show up the way we need him to show up. And
Well, hold on.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you finish, Wiz, but I wanna give proper context.
Okay.
I mentioned the 4 games because those are the 4 games that I feel like RJ played well and he impacted winning. Like if RJ didn't play that well, I don't think we won those games. That's the reason why I brought them up. So it's right. It's 11 games, but I will say that doesn't mean those are the only games he played well in. I just think those are the games that he impacted winning. Here's the other thing. So he also had a game against Cleveland where we won, but I'm not saying it's because of RJ. He just contributed. But he had 19 points, 8 of 12 shooting from the field, 66 points. 66%, should I say, from the field. He was 3 of 6 from 3 for 50%. He had 8 rebounds and 3 assists. Now, that's a good game for RJ. I'm just saying in that game, it wasn't him that really, put us over the top to win the game. We had other guys that played really well. Josh Hart had a really good game in that game too. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm looking at it a little differently.
I was getting there actually. You're right.
Right. So
the chat actually said that about it. I said, yes, the 4 games you mentioned were the games and I actually agree with you. And I did bring in and said, okay, actually let's throw in the other 3 games that he did well.
Right, because he also that's 5, right? And the first game against Miami, he shot 10 for 20 from the field, 50%. He was 1 of 5 from 3, 20%. But he finished with 9 rebounds, 7 assists, and 26 points. That's a really good game from RJ.
Right,
that's 6, right? And then there's one more, and the game that we lost to Miami, 109-101. RJ shot 9 of 16 from the field for 56%, 3 of 5 from 3 for 60%. He was 3 of 3 from the free throw line for 100%, and he finished with 24 points. That's another good game from RJ.
Absolutely.
We just lost. So that's 7 out of 11.
I'm sorry, I don't like 7-Eleven. He's a nice restaurant. Okay. That's what I want. So I have no money. I need a quick little hot dog or a little cheap soda. Okay. I go to higher end. Okay? I want Erewhon. I want Whole Foods. I want Trader Joe's. So I'm just saying, 7-Eleven. So let's go to I want my top 3 player to show up in 9 of 11 games. Take a game off one series.
All right. I mean, you asking for a lot, Wiz. I'm just saying. Even Jaylen Brown, who's played great throughout his NBA career, has had fantastic playoff appearances. Last year, his playoff showing wasn't that great. Even Jaylen Brown, man.
I understand, but I'm just saying. But Jaylen Brown, I would say 6 of 11 games he turns it up, and then 9 of 11 games. He does what he's supposed to do well enough to not cause a team. So RJ is 7 of 11. So I'm trying to bring it to the level of I don't need 4 games off in 2 series, where your game is just trash. So that's my argument. Even though again, I'm not an RJ basher. I don't think any of us are. We're just trying to assess him realistically, because even people got on me this past Monday after the Germany game. After the Germany game, I was the only one who goes, the shots he hit were wide open mid-range shots. Because, the 3-pointers, they were on the line, though. It is a closer 3-pointer, right, than NBA regulation, right? And it's correct, right?
Yes.
So his shots were more mid-range because he was on the line. He wasn't behind the line by a foot or 2. He was actually on the line. So those were mid-range shots. But I'm going to get to him as 3-point shots. The wide open shots he did and jump shots were fine. But I'm sorry, his drives only maybe 2 or 3 times in all the games I watched RJ. And I watched back the Canada games, and all his drives, maybe twice he passed the ball. And I would say 70% of the ones he shot, were if it was Jalen Brunson, I'd say that's Jalen Brunson type shot where how did he get that ball up to the hoop? How did he even get it? He barely got it around these defenders. And these are, like Andy said, and some people have argued, these are the best of their country, but they're not NBA level. So give me an NBA level player defending those shots, he would not have gotten those shots off. And more often than not, he wouldn't have made those shots. I think he's playing more confident now because he's given like Fournier is, do what you do, and he's feeling the freedom. That's not a Tibbs offense, and that's not against NBA level players. So some of those shots he made were like, whoa, circus type, which is not RJ's shot. That's not his repertoire. Getting it past guys who are not NBA level defenders. He does get to the rim even against NBA guys. So I won't say that part. That part can get to the rim against almost anybody, even NBA level players. And so I just see that I can't give him all the props to those drives to the basket that people are giving him. So I didn't count all 29 points for Germany. I counted the mid-range shots and take a couple away because they're not going to be wide open in the NBA. I'm going to take away half of his drives that should have been passes, or he wouldn't have made an NBA level, or would have been blocked at NBA level, because that's been basically his pattern. Go ahead, Andy. You want to say something?
Yeah, I want to say that just what you said. Just rephrase it to make people think about a little bit deeper about this RJ drive situation. He can get to the hoop, but his shot, like Ron also mentioned before, that finishing, he can finish around the hoop, but that shot is not the shot that you want him to take every time. It's not like he pushes off and he has a clear open route. Those shots are contested shots that, are in Europe, you call them situational shots. That he got, but he expected to be a little bit more free, but he had to put it up because he couldn't fall down with the ball, so he threw it up or something like that, right? So that's not the kind of a shot that you want RJ Barrett to take 10 out of 10 times. And like Patrick Ewing sometimes, I remember one thing in the huddle when he was the coach of Georgetown. A player, took a shot and he was asking him, when did you take that shot? Never practiced that shot. Why did you take it? No, I don't think RJ Barrett, when he's practicing in the facilities, he takes it strong to the hoop and stuff like that. Maybe not versus defenders, but he has an easy line to finish. Meanwhile, in the NBA, there's always a contested shot. And, I don't know if I'm comfortable with RJ, taking out of 10 drives that he's taking like 6 bad shots, 2 are easy or 3 are easy. One is like, that was still the best option on this offensive play. But, 5 or at least maybe even 6 are like, well, he made a couple of them, but, I would never feel comfortable with him taking that shot. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing. And going back to RJ's inconsistency, I'd rather have RJ Barrett score a steady 17, 18 points a game on an efficient game than him getting like a 30-point game and then an inefficient 20-point game. Because it's like I always tell this to fans here in Poland. What's the difference if you have 10 guys on your roster that are inconsistent? And meanwhile, if you have like 8 guys consistently that can score, and I'm not saying that, he has to score 18 points each and every game, 10 out of 10 games, right? He can, vary, 2, 4 points this way, that way. But if you have consistency on your team, you can build a team that's gonna, that you're gonna know what the result can be. And I realize that this is the NBA, everybody can differ and stuff like that. But I rather him have a solid 18, 16, 17 points than, wild 20, 22 points a game, because I don't know what I can expect. And, I rather win 4 out of 5 games, 8 out of 10 games than 6 games, but I'm going to win 150 to 120, right? The point difference in NBA doesn't matter. You rather win 8 out of 10 games than 6 out of 10 games, but those 6 wins is going to be by more than 30 points, right? Because more players are going to click on that certain night, but they're definitely not going to click each and every night. So you're going to lose 2 more games out of 10, right? So for me, consistency is more important than having a great game and then having 2 crappy games, or having 3 great games and then 2 bad games. I rather see him be consistent. And again, I'm not bashing RJ Barrett here. I'm just saying that he's inconsistent. You can blame it that he's still young, and I hate this. How do you say? Not solution. I lost the word. They know fans are saying, "Oh, RJ is he's always young," and that you can't put blame on RJ because he's young. No, that thing, he's young, but it's gonna be his 5th season in the NBA. I rather see him consistent than, and I think RJ actually is one of those players that, and we saw it one season at last couple of games, that he said that he has to score he has to average 20 points a game, and he went for 30 points last 5 or 6, 7 games, right? Those games were ugly. He got those 30 points a game, right? But those games were ugly. And I don't want RJ to stat pad individual stats. I rather him do, anything possible to get the Knicks a win.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm just gonna say, we just want RJ to play good, smart, sound basketball. He's gonna get, if he does that, he's gonna get his. You know what I mean?
And Ron, and it's not only RJ.
Everybody.
You can spread out all around. Same goes to Josh Hart. Same goes to Quentin Grimes. Same goes to Emmanuel Quickly. Because
I will. Oh no! I was gonna. I'm gonna remember. Go ahead.
Yeah, because you can say that Mitch is inconsistent, right? But that Mitch can get you 10 boards a game, almost, at least 8, and you know what you can expect from Mitch offensively. If you don't, throw him up the alley-oop, he ain't gonna score other ways. Maybe a putback here and there, but you're not expecting Mitch to have 20 points unless you throw 8 alley-oops to him.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to make 6 out of them, maybe a couple of foul shots and stuff like that, right? If you're not going to use him, I understand it. Meanwhile, RJ, he takes the ball. Sometimes he drives. Sometimes he shoots. He has his options. Not every player on Tibbs' offense has, a green light like RJ has. That's why, it's also on him to distribute his shot selection in a certain way that he's going to be effective. Because, just to get 30 points on an ineffective night, if he's going to be 12 out of 30, you can, if I see that kind of stat, I know that, we probably lost that game. If he's going to be 12 out of 30. Because not everybody else on the roster had the opportunity to score. And if, the 12 out of 30 is a poor contest. So, and he can still, finish up with 30 points that game, right? But it's going to be an inefficient 30, so probably an L in the schedule. So
that's listen. I mean, I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense, Andy. It's fair. I know. I hear what Knicks 100 is saying too. That it has been becoming a little bit of an RJ bashing thing. Not here, but everywhere. A lot of people are talking about RJ Barrett. Yeah, and Bleacher Report kind of lit the fire with that, with the overrated player, the second most overrated player in the NBA, which I don't agree with. I already spoke about this last week. I mean, I get it. If you want to say he's a third pick in the NBA draft, you would think he'd be better, but I just don't like the fact of you classifying somebody and saying he's overrated when you know where do they rate RJ Barrett. You have to rate him first for me to say, okay, look, RJ's on every list. Look at him, top 10 in this, top 10 in that, rookie. And look at actually what he's doing. Is he overrated? Then you can tell me, okay, RJ's overrated. But we've already seen he's not on anybody's list. This past year, I think he made the first list I've ever seen him on. And he was like low on that list. He wasn't even high on the list. But his rookie season, he wasn't on anybody's list. He wasn't on nobody's list. Second year, he had one of the better years from a second year player in the league. He wasn't on anybody's list. And they used that. You know what I mean? The Knicks players used it. RJ used that as fuel to fire him. He was like, yeah, you know, it is what it is. I'm not on anybody's list. It's okay. Third year, not on anybody's list. So if you're not putting a guy on list and classifying him as being good at this or being here, or look at what he's doing, then how can you say a guy's overrated? You got all these other guys that are on list. They're not overrated, right? I'm sure they're not all living up to the hype that they came into the league with. So I'm just saying, I think that started a lot of this right now, and it's not the greatest. I don't think that's fair to RJ. He's inconsistent, yes, but don't say he's overrated when you don't rate him. I feel like if somebody says, man, you know, Still Knicks Fans is one of the best podcasts. Look at them. They finished top 5 in all statistical categories. And then I'm like talking trash and look, no one tunes into Still Knicks. Then you can say, well, maybe he was overrated. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know how you say someone's overrated and you don't rate them. But okay, whatever. All right, I want to move on and get off the RJ thing. I think we spent enough time on it. But I will say that I said this before, and I know there's some new people maybe joining the show and maybe didn't tune in last week. Already said it. I think RJ Barrett is going to have the best season of his career this year. I feel like he is going to ball out. That's my own opinion. I feel like he's primed to do it. I feel like all the people are watching him. I feel like he had a bad enough season last year that he can easily improve on that. And I think he's going to do very well this season. He's already got his money. He's comfortable with that. I think this is the first year he's actually getting paid that money, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. But I think that this is the year where he's got, like, Brunson is there, Hart's there, DiVincenzo's there, Julius is there. All those guys got pressure on them. Quentin Grimes is primed to have a breakout year. He's got a little bit of expectation on his shoulders. RJ could just sit back. You know what? There's a lot of other people that got narratives. Let me just go out here and play. I think RJ could have a great season. Now, one other thing that was said, and before we move on, because I just wanted to address it real quick, and Shaw Legacy, we did talk about game 2. That was one of the 4 games that I thought RJ really impacted winning and helped us win in those playoff games. So I did talk about that. Damn it, where was it? Oh shoot. There it is. It was the that RJ has improved every season. I hate to say this, but that is false. He has not improved every season. His number, scoring wise, points per game, has looked better every season, but that's only attributed to volume. If you take more shots, if your coach allows you to take more shots, you get more opportunities to score the basketball. You can obviously, raise your scoring numbers, but the efficiency has gone down every single year. His defense has gotten worse every single year. So his ancillary stat stuff, his rebounding and assist stuff, is kind of stayed where it is. It hasn't improved. So I can't say that he's improved. And I'm not, and once again, this is weird to say this, but I'm not saying that he can't improve. We've got other players on the team that take from each other too. The better Quickly gets and the more time he spends out there on the court, Quickly is a good rebounder. A rebound that might go to RJ, Quickly scooping it up. Josh Hart is here now. Josh Hart is one of the best rebounding guards in the whole NBA. A rebound that might go to RJ. RJ's a little slower than maybe Josh is to get to it. Josh scoops it up. So it's not like, I'm not saying RJ's he's doing something wrong in that regard. Other guys are here and they're playing well. We've got a really good rebounding team overall. So just stuff like that. I just wanted to throw that out there, But anyway, all right, let's move on.
Before we move from RJ, it's not RJ I'm talking about at this stage. I'm talking about just our general, review of these players. Let's say everyone call it criticism or critique. RJ actually has not gotten as much bashing as Randall has. We've even bashed Obi. We have had people bash Obi more than RJ, and Obi was number 8 on the bench, right? So when you're talking about your top 3 players getting critiqued constructively in most cases, that's not bashing them. That's not paying too much attention. They're the top 3 players. That's why they get the attention. That's why we don't go trying to bash, guys in the tent, sitting on bench for other teams. All teams, you don't hear their fans talk about them, because if you're in the spotlight, if you're the number 3 draft pick, if you're getting paid what you're getting paid as a top 3 player on the team, you're gonna get reviewed the most by your fans, because you also play the most. You're more there in the open. And right now he's in FIBA performing at a level that we haven't seen when he played with us in the regular season. So the review on players is going to happen based on your exposure. We're not going to talk about, that 5th intern at the White House over the vice president, right? We're going to talk about the ones who are up front. And then the last thing of 7-11, my 7-11 comment, talking about my math skills. First of all, I'm just letting out with the Brooklyn Tech. So math-wise, shut down, okay? Math major, engineering major, math, all the, but anyway, 7-11, I'm sorry, but 7, and again, when I said 7, I'm being generous with a couple of those, but we're saying 4 and then 3 decent games to make it 7 that he showed up. I was an A student, so I don't look at 70% as an A. By the way, 7-11 is not even an A. It's not even a C student. Actually, that's close to C minus D plus, right? So you're actually closer to being 67%, right? That's
okay.
That's not a performance level I expect. So maybe my standards are way too high.
I hear you, but let me just say, Wiz, is RJ Barrett your first option?
No.
Is RJ Barrett your second option?
No.
Okay, you see where I'm going here. Being that he's not your number 1 or your number 2, the expectation level should be a little different from a number 3, number 4 option. I'm just saying.
Okay. No, but I'm just saying the reason why we talk about it more though is because 1 and 2 balled out this year, except in the playoffs for Randall, and he got the excuse of injury. So that's why he's being focused on more, because he didn't ball out in the regular season, and in the playoffs, he showed what we've been expecting him to show for 4 or 5 games, and let's give him a 6 or 7, and that's why it's focused. And then he goes to FIBA, and he's doing stuff that we're like, what? Why did you do that more with us? And even the FIBA games, we still have certain issues that we need our number 3, number 2 highest paid player, etc., to perform at. So we're just talking about the person who happens to be less perform below what we expect, and then being visible more than anybody else right now, more than of all players. So that's all I'm saying. It's not
I hear you.
It's exposure.
I hear you.
It doesn't matter. You're in the spotlight. You're getting talked about.
I hear you. I hear you. I'm just throwing it out there that I get it. We understand, but and Keith is like, he ain't I get it. He's got the money. Yes, the expectations go up, but the expectations don't mean because we paid you, that means we expect more of you than Julius Randle, or we expect more of you than Jalen Brunson. Those are our 2 aces. You know what I mean? RJ is, you want to say he's a B? He's a B then on the Knicks team. I'm just saying on the Knicks team. But he's not an A. He's not an ace. And he still needs to play like a B, because some might say he's playing like a C or a D. I get it. But I'm just, I just want to put it out there just in fairness. Like we can't say, because I think that, part of this started with Tibbs. Damn it, I'm trying to move on, but I just so many things keep coming up. Part of this started with Tibbs. I was really upset with the Fournier Kemba Walker year. I think that was Tibbs made a mistake in what he did. The Knicks already had an identity. We went away from some of that defense, which it's not a horrible thought. Hey, we were really good defense. I think we were definitely top 10. We might have even been top 5, top 6 in defense for that year. We went away from some of that because we couldn't score as well as other teams. So we said, listen, let's bring in a Fournier. Let's bring in Kemba and give us a little bit more offensive punch. These guys are solid NBA players. It can't hurt. We already are a solid team defensively. Now, I think they made the mistake because they didn't value the guard and perimeter defense the way they should have, because getting rid of both Elfrid Payton and Reggie Bullock might have not have been the best idea. You should have kept one of them. It is what it is. All right. But remember, when they did that, if you guys remember how the season went, how it started off, it was Julius Randle's show. It was getting Kemba involved and getting Fournier involved, because those were our two new shiny, things we're adding to the team. And how can we get them acclimated into the frame? And RJ was like the fourth option. And I think that was a mistake. From that point, I think Tibbs kind of messed up RJ's development trajectory. I think he should have kept RJ as a second option on the Knicks, and then kind of infused Kemba and Fournier around that and had them play off of RJ and Julius. It definitely would have helped a guy like Fournier, because if he running everything through Julius and RJ, I'm talking about, this is what, once again, guys, just giving you a heads up, I'm talking about the beginning of the season, because we know towards January, February, he started putting the ball in RJ's hands and RJ started facilitating more. This was already, we already played like 2-3 months. I just think he messed up with that thought process. And I think also Tibbs's willingness to let these players do whatever the hell they want out there on the court is not a good thing either. Telling guys, okay, we want to open up the floor, just shoot the shot. I don't care. That's not a good idea for a Knicks team that struggles offensively as far as opening up their game. We're pretty good. We score points, but we score points interior wise. That's our thing. From the perimeter, not so much. We do, but not so much. All right. This whole conversation is convoluted, man. It can go everywhere. A shout out to Dripmore in the building. That's right. The preferred barber of still Knicks fans and the Knicks community. Let's go. We in here. Mike Boy is in the building. Salute, brother. Appreciate you. Trini Harlem Jr. in the building. Ala Wise is in the building. Salute. The Organic Fanatics podcast is in the building. Salute to you, fellas. Appreciate you guys. Once again, if you guys haven't supported their show, please do, man. Another good Knicks community content creator. Show them some love, man. They got a good bunch over there. They're family. They argue like a family would argue. You got to love it. It's great. It's great. It's fantastic. I love it. Salute to them, man. Hit that like, comment, subscribe for them, and show them some love. All right. So let's get into this and speed the show along, because we're already at the minute, the hour 30 mark, and we all been talking about RJ. Like, damn. All right. So let's get into these two gentlemen right here, Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart. Let me tell you something. I know they're not, and I'm not necessarily, it's not about putting up the most points. I think Anthony Edwards consistently has been putting up more points than either of them. It's about what they are doing for Team USA and how it's looking out there. Josh Hart didn't even play the first game, but the combination of Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson, they are doing everything you could ask for Team USA. They're like solidifying, the stabilizers. I like to say JB for the Knicks is a stabilizer, but JB and Josh Hart for Team USA, they're stabilizing. They give that calm down, like, we got this. There, we need a quick bucket. Oh, we need a little transition. Let's get that. A nice three here and there. Oh, we need to break down the defense, draw them in, get to the free throw line. Stabilizes, and they have been doing fantastic for Team USA in that regard. And as Knicks fans, I got to tell you, it makes me feel really happy knowing that we're going into this season from the jump with both Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart. So I don't know how you guys, Andy, how do you feel about what you've seen so far for Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, and how that might translate into a full season for the Knicks together?
Well, listen, yeah, Jalen Brunson is, a totally different book from Josh Hart, and we know what Jalen can bring to the team and stuff like that. I don't think that's going to change. I think he's going to come into the season from game one prepared, as of course he's going to be on the training camp with the Knicks, but after the summer spent it with these kind of quality guys from the NBA, I think he's going to be benefiting both of them. But Jalen Brunson, class act, it's what do you want me to say? He's like the valedictorian of the team, right? So I think you can't have more praise than Jalen can have. But Josh Hart, what's I remember I laughed so loud on the couch. My wife was asking me, "What are you laughing for? I want to hear the joke." When I saw the stats for Josh Hart, and they started the stats from the FIBA games, like 9 rebounds,
Yeah.
six passes. They didn't even mention the points. Like you don't know how many points he scored that game, but it was like 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 steals, whatever. And I was like, this is the stat line I want to see from my role player. He doesn't care about scoring the points. He does everything the team needs to win. All the dirty work. Josh Hart is the first guy to pick up the broom and to make it happen. So, and I bet you that he might be one of the funniest guys on the Knicks roster. When you see, Jalen Brunson's Instagram video, listen, if I had a chance to get on the Knicks roster, I think Josh Hart would be one of my best friends there. Like straight up from the jump, bro. It's like it feels like he's one of those guys that is easy to be around, funny to be around, and stuff like that. So I think he can do no harm to the chemistry of the team. He can fix not only things on the basketball court but also off of it. So for me, he's a perfect glue guy on a roster, and I bet you every championship team has one of those guys. So I think he's the guy for the Knicks roster as far as that goes.
Right. Facts. Wiz, what's your thoughts?
So first time I'm disagree with Andy regarding Jalen Brunson. Actually, I expect more from him this season. You said we know what to expect. I actually raised my expectation of Brunson because of what he's doing. At the same time, I'm cautioned with the fact that because he has so many better players around him, he may not perform as well because he's going to be looking to pass the ball to where players should be rather than where they're going to be with our team. Because when you're playing with some elite players and guys at high IQ, our players may not be there or perform and do what they need to do when he's like, oh, you know what? When I make this move, I know this guy's going to shift left. Let me pass that ball with his don't-look passes. I know he's going to hit the shot. He's going to get to the next game and he's going to be like, oh, yo, where are you? Or how you missed that? Maybe subliminal. He's not going to be like obviously going to credit because he's a professional, right? He's a class player. But he may actually start to go, okay, he can't do that. Maybe, he can't. Okay, let me adjust my game because, that guy won't be there or he won't. No. So he's got to make the adjustment. So I'm tempering my expectation of JB because he's going to be playing with lesser players to a certain degree. Again, I don't want to insult my Knicks players. I don't want to argue with otherwise enough stuff about salaries and stuff because there are certain aspects that will change because the dynamics of the team change. Your players you're playing with changes. The players you're playing against changes. So I'm going to temper it, but still, because of the exposure and the experience and the comfortable aspect of how he's going to be with his boy Dante and of course Josh, and then he and Randall got the chemistry going more. I think I can raise it a little bit more because he's going to be that much better. And I'm seeing his improvement. Someone talked about Halliburton being better than him because he made the All-Star game and all NBA. I'm like, he was better in January, Halliburton was. Maybe. He's not better in August. Okay? So 8 months can make a difference in improvements. So don't give me that this guy made an All-Star team last year, which is why he's better than him because of subjective, accolades rather than right now on the floor, eyeball test, stat, etc. Right now, JB's better. So I expect more. Josh, man, I said the same thing when I saw the stat line. I was like, who starts off a stat line other than perhaps, Mitch Robinson with rebounds? Who the heck does that?
That's crazy.
Okay, why did I now see blocks before I see points? I saw steals before I was like, what is this? And I go, okay, now I can bring up salary. I'm one who was like, I'm not giving this guy $20+ million a year. I know the numbers are changing. No, salary cap, etc., and TV contracts coming up. The dynamics have changed, but I was definitely a month or two ago saying I'm not giving this guy 20 mil plus a year coming off our bench, and you making him the fourth highest player in the team, and all that stuff. I'm like, geez. And again, I'm not saying even the amount of money is the positioning on the team hierarchy, where yes, some otherwise it's like Jalen Brown is making more than Tatum. Yeah, because the market, yes, dictated because right now,
for now,
But with Josh, I don't know if we couldn't have gone down a few mil and make sure it's going to be below IQ. But right now, after seeing this past game alone with just that stat line and the way he plays, I'm like, oh, actually, I'm okay if he happens to be equivalent or more than IQ, because he's doing the things we need a player like him to do. And then he's bringing all those intangibles that you talk about, just the personality and the way he can have a team play looser, because the guy you have there is not the rigid, oh man, stay there, don't talk, don't laugh, don't joke. Man, I was down. I mean, this is embarrassing as a Jamaican. My team's college team, soccer team, we went to I think Rhode Island or something. We went to play a team, and it would rain all night before. The mud was this thick, and they had on long cleats, so they could grip the floor better. We were down 4-0 in the game, and I didn't start that game. I don't know what happened, but I was getting taped or something, and I was running in and running to the center field because they just scored, and I'm running in because we gotta get you in there, man. Coach is like, gets Wiz in there. He didn't call me Wiz, by the way. He said, get a Wiz in there. So I ran it there, and I said, my guy, man, I'm laughing. Let's do this. And the other guys were like, what you laughing at? What you smiling at? We're down 4-0. And I'm like, man, it's still first half. Let's see what we're going to do. Plus, I'm here. And, I'm joking around like that. And sure enough, guess what? We won the game 6-5. It was crazy. Well, we won the game 6-5. But because these guys are so stiff, they're basically already defeated. That's why Josh Hart is. The guy's going to come in there no matter what's going on. So if he saw Randall smash a laptop last a year and a half ago, he'd walk and be like, "Hey Randall, you just smashed your laptop. Is your hand okay?" We'll joke around and just say, "Yeah, throw that away." And there's something where just bring the ice and just have people go, "Oh man, okay, you got me," and then move on. So that's what I like about him. So I'll pay him the $20 million just for that alone. That's my take.
No, I mean, listen, that's fair. And listen, the other thing too is and I I see Knicks 100 is not happy with the amount of money that we gave Josh Hart. He doesn't think it's realistic for his type of game. But let me just say this: I know it's hard for people to understand this stuff right now. You live in the right now, and it just it doesn't make sense. And then that there's other people that you may have to pay. But what more do you have to know? It's kind of like I used to always have this issue whenever I had to move to a new apartment. And I walk into the apartment and it's empty. And I'm like, I don't know. I can't really see it. I mean, I guess I could put, I'm not one of them people. Like other people walk into a blank canvas, a blank apartment. They're like, oh, yeah. Oh, like I'm not that guy. Like I can't see it. So you know what I mean? But that being said, when it comes to Josh Hart, there's two really important things you have to understand here. It's a 4-year deal, but the 4th year is a player option. I mean, team option. So the Knicks don't have to pick it up, right? But even if they don't pick it up, it's 3 years at like $58 million, which translates to about $19 million per year. Obviously, we know it. It's not going to play out that way. It'll be higher and whatever, or start higher and be de-escalating. We don't know if it's escalating or de-escalating. So I don't know yet. But the point is, that's looks like it's horrible. It's not horrible, because the other thing you got to think about is the NBA salaries and contracts are going up. This is, I think a lot of people are losing out at the fact that this is the beginning. There's always a beginning to a salary structure. Right now, this is the beginning. So all of these contracts that you're starting to see are the beginning of the trend. So over the next few years, you're going to see everybody's salary that deserves it is going to get pushed up. And so guys like Josh Hart's numbers are going to go down in comparison. So right now it looks like Josh Hart is making 19 whatever. In hindsight, like realistically, 2-3 years from now, that 19 is going to look like 16 or 17. It's going to be fair market value. It just hasn't got there yet. We're at the beginning. That's the whole thing, like with Jaylen Brown. Yeah, okay, Jaylen Brown's making 300+ million. That's wild, and he's the first, but he won't be the last. Like Tatum is getting 300+ million at the end of the year when his contract comes up, and then the rest of the domino is going to start going. By the time we get to Julius in a couple years, Julius is going to be high 200. I don't know if it's going to be with the Knicks, but he's going to be high 200. Jalen Brunson is definitely going to be high 200. Like it's all going to rise up, and then those other contracts are going to start to look lower, and you're going to be like, okay, now it's stabilized. Now it's fair market value. I know right now it looks a little crazy, but it's only because it's the timing. Some people are fortunate, like you come in and your deal is up right when you get a new CBA agreement, and the TV revenue has gone up. So they're just fortunate to be able to get their money now. But it's going to even out. Believe me, it's okay. It's all right. It's all right. So yeah,
actually,
I mean,
real quick, Brunson and Brunson's contract versus RJ's contract right now. RJ's high paid, isn't he? Does RJ have a high, maybe incentive?
Slightly, but I don't even want to throw the incentives because we don't know if RJ's hit any of those incentives, so they don't really matter to me. Yeah,
right. But so
yeah, but I think RJ's. I think technically by 1 million. I think RJ's 107 and Brunson was 106. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was something like that.
Yeah, but I think Brunson's contract is descending though, and RJ is rising. So I think
escalating, right?
Like 2-3, escalating. Like in 2-3 seasons, I think the difference is going to be like 3-4 million in favor of RJ. So
right
then the Knicks fans are going to be, taking their hair out.
That's why I bring it up, because it's going to look really crazy when you look at RJ's performance. I mean, right now it looks crazy when you look at RJ performance with JB's, and you're like, what? But again, the market dictates it. His previous performance dictated it. So yes, we have to sometimes make decisions on salaries based on your past performance and the current conditions of salaries, and it can't always match up when it's done at different time frames. Except there could have been an argument where when we were getting Brunson, we should have offered him more than RJ if people saw what he was going to bring. But he couldn't do it because he was not the primary guy, and he looked like, a guy coming off the bench to a certain extent from Dallas' point of view. I mean, to a certain extent, it didn't look like he was RJ's level. So when we gave him the salary, people were like, what? You're going to give him that kind of money? And now we're like, oh, snap, he's underpaid.
Yeah, but Wiz, and when it comes to contracts in sports, it doesn't matter. You never think like that. The reason why is because the good players always rise to the top, and they're always going to get their time. RJ is never. No, I don't want to say that. No, don't do it, Ron. No, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that. Let's just say Brunson's definitely getting a bag, right, when his contract comes up, okay? He's getting another big bag, all right? That's all I'm saying. I don't want to do that. Don't do that, Ron. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Daniel Jones should be paid more than Saquon Barkley, right?
It's only, Daniel Jones is a quarterback. Listen, if you don't have a quarter, if you ain't got a quarter, I don't care how good your running back is. If you don't have a quarterback, your team is going nowhere. That's it. I don't care who it is. I don't care. Football is different. We can't talk about football.
Yeah,
should Saquon make more money? Yes, but we already know the NFL doesn't value running backs. It's the whole NFL. It's not just the Giants. All right, but that's a whole nother story. But let me tell you something right now. I don't care how you can have the best team in the league defensively and have some good offensive weapons. But if your quarterback is trash, you guys ain't going nowhere because they can't get him the ball. They can't get the ball out. All right, whatever. Okay. Anyway, all right. And not for nothing, Daniel Jones was 8 of 9 yesterday. Touchdown in his first drive. A beautiful 72-yard play. Okay, whatever. All right. Let's get off of that. All right. Just saying. If you wanted to know. But to Knicks 100, he said we wasted 2 first-round picks. And I know, see, you're stuck on that, Nick, because I know you say it multiple shows, and I get it. it looks like. But this is what I want to tell you. Knicks 100 said we wasted 2 first-round picks to get a player we could have just signed straight up. True. But let me say this as a Knicks fan that's been a Knicks fan for a long time, since early 90s, like 92 or something like that. How many times do we want a player, and when it's free agency time, they don't come to the Knicks? Nobody is guaranteed. We might have been in a position to offer Bruce Brown more money, right? He didn't even take the time to talk to the Knicks. He just signed his deal with Indiana, and I'm out. He took the more money and ran with it. You just never know what's going to happen. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, and just to point it out, Knicks 100 at GM, he's my buddy on Twitter. We have plenty same philosophy things about basketball and stuff like that. But I'm not quite sure about this one. If Josh Hart was a free agent, I don't think we would have the money to give him around. Even if you wanted to give him a $15 million contract, I don't think we had the money, unless we would have to move Fournier just for a trade exception. Maybe then. But otherwise, I'm not sure you could sign him in free agency.
And even that, Andy, if we had to move Fournier, who's to say we were going to be able to even do it? We can't do it now. So then what do we got to do to move Fournier to get the trade exception?
That's a lie. We're keeping Fournier for the 2 preseason games versus Boston and that game 1 versus in the regular season. That's the only way. I think Leon Rose paid off the schedule makers, even if it's in the artificial intelligence. I don't know if he kind of did that we got game 1 versus Boston, then we're gonna trade Fournier.
But I'm just saying. Well, hold on, Wiz, 1 second. Realistically, even if we had to move off of Fournier's contract, we might most likely, that would be a desperate situation. We would probably have to attach a pick to it to get Fournier out of here. So it's more picks going out the door. And before I get over to Wiz and hear his point, I just wanted to say, we're already talking about RJ Barrett, who's the 3rd pick in the draft. You're complaining, not you particularly, Knicks 100, but people are complaining about his value and what he's giving to the team, his inconsistency. 3rd pick overall. We talked about Obi, another 1st-round pick, 8th overall. He's on Indiana now. It didn't work out because he was behind Julius. Holding on to these 1st-round picks doesn't necessarily translate to we're going to get a player we can use. The Knicks have also drafted 1st-round talent in the past. Hasn't really panned out.
Those talents. Those team my
okay, my bad. Go ahead, Wiz. Go ahead, Wiz.
Would you trade Frank and Knox for Hart right now?
I ain't trading Frank.
Okay. Would you rather have Frank and Knox or Hart right now? I'm talking about both of them. Right?
It's not even a question.
Exactly.
Not
both
even a
first
question.
Round picks. Okay, so if you think about it like that, those were the 1st-round picks we traded. Just think about it, those were the kind of 1st-round picks we traded. Not literally, but just say hypothetically, those are the picks we traded for Hart. It's a no-brainer. Great deal, right? So let's look at it from that point of view. And because it's history, that can make you feel better that we traded Frank and Knox for Hart. And now we're good because we got Hart instead of Frank.
I mean, that makes me feel better. Thanks, Wiz. Shout out to Adam Hurley. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you. Shout out to my guy Quiet Money in the building. Salute, my brother. Hope you're doing well as always. Smash that like button, like Quiet Money is saying. Thank you. Appreciate that. I want to, okay, one last thing about this particular point of the topic. I just want to say to Knicks 100 and to other Knicks fans who may feel this way, once again, you got to see a Knicks team get better throughout the season. You got to see Tom Thibodeau with his back against the wall, knowing that he was starting to become on the trade, not the trade block, like the firing block, right? The chopping block, because of the way the Knicks were playing. He made a conscious effort to say, I'm no longer going to worry about incorporating all of these players into the mix. I don't care if we traded a 1st-round pick for you or what. I'm changing my rotation to nine men, and I'm going this way, and I'm going to do this with the guys I believe in, right? And the Knicks started winning out the gate. They went on that 8-game win streak. Fine, okay? But even throughout the 8-game win streak, like around the losses and stuff around that time, we were winning in a certain way, right? When we made the trade for Josh Hart came over here and out the gate, he was getting rebounds and he was getting steals, right? He was affecting the game, right? He was doing different things. He was pushing the break. He was trying to get other guys open for easy shots and getting assists, getting around 4 or 5 assists a game when he first got here. Those are the type of intangible plays that good teams, that elite teams, that contenders have. We didn't have that. You can't be that type of team if you don't got players that can do that. I don't care how much I like RJ. I don't care how much you might value Quickly. When it comes to that type of stuff, Quickly is a good overall player. He can play good defense. He's good offensively when he's on. He can pass the ball when he's locked in. He can rebound here and there. He's not Josh Hart, though. Josh Hart, like, that's his bag. Rebounds, incredible. Steals, very good. He can give you 4 or 5. When he's on, it's incredible, right? It's just his work ethic. He's a certain way. We didn't have that. We didn't have that dog. Quickly is a dog in training. Josh Hart is a dog now. You know what I mean? You need that on a team, and sometimes you got to pay for it, and you got to reward guys who do that. I would rather give Josh Hart money for what he's doing for us rather than go get some other offensive player out there that goes out there and scores but doesn't give us the intangibles, doesn't help us when we need somebody to clean up the game. That's the type of stuff you need in the fourth quarter. If you guys remember, there was a point in the season last year when I talked about something changed here, and I was incredibly impressed. The Knicks looked like they finally got it. In the fourth quarter of games, they started doing things to make them win. If they had a lead, they started doing things to keep the lead. If they didn't have the lead, they started doing things to get control of the game and play tough defense and get to the loose ball, get steals, get those rebounds to give us a shot to get back into the game. That is Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson together, and the rest of the team picked up. But those two during those times is what helped us change. You got to give credit to Josh Hart. You can't not give him credit. I'm sorry. I know, I get it. He's not the best offensive player, even though he has some skills, but you can't take that away from him. So I just think that we're being a little hard on how important Josh Hart is to this Knicks team. He's really important. And now we might have another type of Josh Hart with Dante DiVincenzo. He's going to give us some other things that we're going to realize are very important to the team. I'm telling you, the Knicks going to be good, man. We talking 50+ games. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. I can't, because you know what I look at? We won 47 games. In the start of the season, we weren't playing well. And until Tibbs decided to switch up that rotation, we were a different team, and we lost a lot of games that we could have won. So I can easily see us winning 50 even. Now, that's just 3 more than what we had. So I can see us winning 54, 55. Lock it in. Let's go. But okay, all right. Let me get off this because I'm getting too hyped now. I'm ready for basketball right now. Look, so even the chat knows. Look how many people are viewing right now. We got 50 because they know it's a 50 burger for the Knicks. Let's go. All right, guys. David Smith is in the building. Salute. Appreciate you. If I'm saying playoff wins, then I'm telling you 50 regular season wins at least, and then 8 playoff wins. We get into the ECF. Let's go. Eastern Conference Finals. Knicks. Lock it down, baby. Somebody was scared. Now we got 49 viewing. Somebody was like, nah, I can't do it, Ron. All right. Knicks 100 says, let's face facts. We don't get Brunson without side deal that we could get Hart and Dante. It's crystal. Yeah. Knicks 100. That's the Knicks. That's what we do. That everything is a side deal. 100%. Don't think we didn't sign Jacob Toppin because they said, Obi, we'll take care of your brother. If he's out there, we'll get him, everything's a side deal. That's how the Knicks move, bro.
That's how life goes, Ron.
Yeah, well. All right. So, all right, guys. Now let's get to the pièce de résistance, right? Let's get to what I like to say is the the new schedule for the Knicks, and I don't know what the expectations will be, but we know it's released, and so let me bring this puppy up on the screen so we get a look at it, and we'll talk about it a little bit. We're not going to break down. I'll save that for another show, like how many wins and all that we can predict from watching the matchups. Let's just look at the schedule, see if there's any favorable matchups that you like to highlight, and see if the schedule looks tougher. We can talk about that. So this is it, and I hope you guys can see it. I'm trying my best here. It's kind of small. It is what it is. I can't make it bigger. I'm sorry, guys. It is what it is. But what I can do is, you could obviously take a picture of this on your phone and then blow it up on your own, but that's too much work, right? I get it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a share screen, excuse me, of like a couple of the individual games that they got here, so we can take a look at it that way. Maybe that's a little easier, because I'm like, even me, my eyes, like, I gotta put on glasses to see what this is. So it's rough. Let's go Knicks NBA schedule. All right, so here we go. Let's take a look at it from this standpoint. All right, here we go. Let me share this. Okay, this is better. If I can get rid of this freaking Discover ad that popped up. What the hell you guys trying to do to me? Damn it, CBS. All right. Okay, here we go. So this is it. Maybe I can blow this up a little bit. Whatever, it is what it is. All right, so this is it, guys, and we started off, like, as Andy already pointed to, the reason why we keep it Fournier. First game,
Evan Fournier game.
Yeah, the Evan Fournier game, right, against Boston, and then we've got Atlanta, New Orleans, Cleveland back to back, Milwaukee, the Clippers, What type of opening season is this? What is this? This is crazy, man. What? Man, the Knicks definitely showed improved last year. They said, okay, Knicks, way to go. Now let's give you something that you can really sink your teeth into. We're talking Boston, Atlanta, New Orleans, Cleveland, Milwaukee, the Clippers. San Antonio is probably the one that, but we'll see how that Wembanyama thing goes. Charlotte, the return of Frank Ntilikina. Then you got Boston again, Atlanta, Washington, Charlotte, Purdue, Minnesota, Miami, Phoenix. This is an interesting way to start off the season. The Knicks gotta come out the gate playing some real basketball, or they could be, we could start off kind of low, bro.
Yeah, we better start off strong. We better start off strong, because a lot of December, January, that's when it gets tough, man. That West Coast swing as well. We better start off strong, because we have if we don't, we could be looking at the new coach. People be like, yeah. No, I'm just talking. We have the matchups in the first 2 months are very manageable. I think we could really do well those first 2 months.
Yeah, I think this is a nice little, what it is it sets the Knicks up to really make a statement, right? Because out the gate, this is not an easy run, right? There's some good teams here, and as much as we dismantled Cleveland in the playoffs, Cleveland was the first in defense coming into the they were higher than us. They were the 4th seed.
And they added a piece to get better. So
yes. So we can't overlook Cleveland. So that's going to be tough. And then back to back, I think New Orleans should be much better this year. Once again, if everybody's healthy and Zion is healthy, and then Milwaukee's going to be trying to come out the gate once again the way they normally do. They always play well in the regular season. Clippers should be interesting. And Boston, we got to look at the new look Boston. Although that first game of the season, who knows if they'll even have a healthy Chris Stapp. So who knows? Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But I like the fact that the Knicks are getting tested early. That's good. That is good. And so there's none of that. Oh, because if they survive, go through that and have a winning record, that's going to be big around the rest of the league. They're going to be like, okay, the Knicks got something going. I like that. That's good. I don't know how do you feel about that? The fact that we're getting tested early, Andy.
Oh well, Ron, I got three things to say till I get to your question. One, shout out to Queen Steph. She had a show where they were predicting the results, and they had the Knicks so positively that I was like, listen, guys, I was listening to the show. That's like, we ain't going like 8-2, 7-3, 7-3, 8-2, and they came up with like 40, couple to like barely 20 losses. I was like, so we're gonna end up with 60 wins this season, kind of to you guys. So and there was a couple of podcasters with panelists with her, so you guys know where to find Queen Steph and watch that show. They broke it down literally game by game and 10 games, so go and have some fun. Ron, what I wanted to point out, also because of my point of view, is that this year's schedule has plenty of road trips and homestands. I don't know, but last couple of years we had like 1, max 2 homestands with 4 games in a row in MSG. This year we have it 4 times that we have at least 4 games in MSG in a row. And I'm going to tell you why I notice it so fast, because whenever the schedule comes out, I always try to see what games and when, if I, fly over from Poland to New York and stay for a week, what games can I see in a week, right? And I always aim for that homestand, right? This year I have 4 chances. And if I'm correct, I think it was around mid-January. If I stay for like 2 weeks, the game that splits the whole 2 4-game homestands is at Brooklyn. So I could see like 9 games in 2 weeks. Wow. And I was like, oh, that would be something, right? But the decision still hasn't come if I'm going to drop by. But this year, more than ever, there's a chance that I'm going to be in New York, and I hopefully going to be able to meet you guys if I'm going to be there. I'm going to plan it accordingly, so we're going to have that chance. But yeah, just going off that topic, I think the top the 10 games off the bat, I don't think it's like hard schedule. Actually, Boston is probably going to be without KP because he has plantar fasciitis, so he's going to be probably out. They want to have him fully healthy before they start to play him, right? They lost Marcus Smart, which I think was the heart and soul of that team. So unless KP is going to be balling out, I think Boston, and I'm not saying that they're going to be worse than last season, like worse, like behind the Knicks in the standings, but they're going to be easier team to play without Marcus Smart and Grant Williams. Those were 2 guys that were those kind of hustle players that a team like Boston actually needed, having 2 superstar players in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, as far as I think. Atlanta, they were worse last season than us. The Pelicans were worse last season than us. We beat the Cavs in a series, but whenever we have back-to-back games versus the same team, it usually ends up in a split. So let's say we win, one of those Cleveland games. I think, the Bucks, of course, are going to be the favorites, but we kind of have great, good games versus the Bucks as well. The Clippers, until they don't get James Harden for cheap, I don't think, you can easily say that the Clippers is going to roll over the Knicks. So we still have a chance there. The Spurs, I don't think Wembanyama's first season is going to be such an easy transition. He still doesn't have the body weight. And I think, he's still going to be adapting to the NBA game. So, that I don't think that the first week is that bad for the Knicks. The first 10 games, even. Charlotte, of course. I hope Frank is going to be there because he has a strained hamstring. As usual. Frank and his hamstrings. So that's a pity for him. He's actually off the French national team because of that injury, so he's not going to be playing in the FIBA World Cup. But I'm not sure what to think about the Hornets. I heard plenty of things that some panelists on the Steph shows were scared about them. Some were like, listen, it's still the Hornets. I need to see a couple of games of them, guys, because it's hard to judge them. LaMelo Ball is supposed to be playing. Is he such a game changer? I don't know. They drafted a couple of guys. Still a little bit chemistry and meshing to do. Young team, but you never know. They might beat the Magic of last season, right? That they can beat anyone. So, but just to wrap up the first 10, I think, it's not that bad. I think definitely the Knicks are going to have a winning record coming out after the first 10 games.
Okay. Okay. That's fair. Wiz, what do you think?
Similar lines. Actually, I'm actually a little bit more probably confident than Andy in the first 20 games. I really only see the Suns that I think if they gel, that's a scary team. But other than that, everybody else is beatable, more so than others. Obviously, Boston without KP should be, and Smart, of course, should be a nice opportunity for us to take them. So first 20 games, I see us. I'm going 20 because I just saw the first 10 and 20 in the last second 10. That's almost similar, and there are possibilities of losses here. Splits, of course, back-to-back games, home and away games against the same team. So I'm feeling confident for those first 20 as winning records. So if you want to do the first 10, yes, I do see 7-3 first 10. I do see us almost the same second 10, but I also see possibility of 8-2 or 6-4 either way. But no matter what, worst case scenario would be 12-8 for 20 games. But 7-3 first 10, I think, is really doable for us. So I'm feeling good. At least Tips probably won't swap out the starting lineup in the first 10 games like he did last time.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
But for 7-3, he's gonna stay the course because he's about consistency and continuity. I think he likes when the team is doing well. Don't mess with it, and then maybe he reacts too late when they start doing badly, and he starts to go, oh no, they'll recover, and then darn it, too late. Kemba, I'm sorry, I had a Kemba flashback. I had a Burks flashback.
Right. It's all right. It's all right. I just want to let's scroll through a little bit and just see what looks like the big test. Yes. I mean, this is a little bit of a test coming out the gate. The only reason, and here's the thing, like the Knicks are starting to turn the corner in my mind. Like, even though I said this is a test, I'm not worried that the Knicks will not beat a lot of these teams. Like, it's just a test because it's like you're not getting a cookie cutter, cake schedule to start the season. You're getting good teams. That's all it is. But the Knicks have already turned the corner in my book that they're a good basketball team now. They're not elite yet, but they're a good basketball team. So I expect them to win these games against some of these teams. I don't know which ones they'll win, which ones they'll lose as of yet, but I expect them to have a chance to win all of these games because I think they're a better team now. Let me scroll down a little bit. We see. Okay, so we got Boston, Atlanta, blah 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 blah. I went through all that. We get up to now. We get into the Detroit, Toronto back-to-back. They love these back-to-backs. Utah, we don't know what Utah we're going to get this year. Is it going to be the Utah that came out the gate crazy last year, or are they going to be the Utah that finished the season like Utah would? I don't know. Then we get Phoenix, the Clippers, the Lakers, Brooklyn, Milwaukee back-to-back. Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, they're going to be spending the Christmas in New York, right?
Right. Oklahoma City, who's don't shortchange Oklahoma City. We know they're young, but they're getting their number one pick back healthy. they're adding a new number 1 pick to the mix. This like and I don't mean number 1 overall, but a first round pick, should I say?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I mean, I think this is kind of it, right? Like this little Phoenix, the Clippers, the Lakers, Brooklyn, Milwaukee back-to-back. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then maybe you throw in the Oklahoma City game at 7 because you don't quite. And I'm just talking about, all right, these are 7 game stretch that's interesting. Now, some might say Orlando is 8. Like Orlando might be the toughest team for the Knicks to beat. We always have an issue with Orlando. It's crazy to me.
Those last 2 games is going to be trap games.
Right. And then the Indiana game, which everybody's going to circle, December 30th. That's going to be fun. Yeah, man. Everybody's got. This is the Obi game right here. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. So we got Minnesota, Chicago, Philadelphia, Washington, Portland. It's broken up. Dallas. Never really care too much about Dallas. I think we go back and forth with Dallas. We can beat them. It's not an issue. Orlando again, the Knicks stoppers. Then we got Houston, which is the new look Houston team with Van Vliet and Dylan Brooks and all the other guys they got, and the new coach. Yeah. So we'll see what Houston is.
By the way, Memphis, you play Memphis in Memphis, right?
Yeah.
They have open carry. They have open carry there. They have open carry in Memphis.
Stop, Wiz.
We got to be careful.
Yeah, that could be difficult. That's going to be interesting.
And here's the homestand from January 15, right? Magic,
okay.
The Rockets, the Wizards, the Raptors, then a game at Brooklyn, and then another homestand.
Wow.
Ooh, wow. And then Denver and Miami. Yeah, that's a nice little man. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Look deeper down even. There's another 2 games. Oh no, sorry, it's Charlotte. Okay.
The Charlotte one breaks it up. But even Charlotte is close enough that when the Knicks go to Charlotte, it's like there's mad Knicks fans over there. So this really is very Knicks centric here. Yeah, this is and then another OB game again in Madison Square Garden on February 1st.
Okay, actually, real quick, you guys think the last year we were better on the road than we were at home, right?
Yeah.
For most so you think he's gonna flip this year or the same or break even?
I think this season it won't matter that much. I don't think the Knicks is gonna be like, oh, these guys are playing way better at away. So
right, I think so too.
Yo, this is crazy. Wow, good for pointing that out, Andy. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't care what nobody says. Barclays Center is a home game.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is it's like spades. 2 and a possible. 8 is almost like a home game because, like I said, there's so many Knicks fans that go to the Charlotte games, and so 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Man, that's like home cooking. Wow, that's crazy. Wow.
That's amazing.
But the good thing about it is like a team that struggles to win games at home, you got to get right. When you get 14 games like this, and even 2 of them not being in your arena, you're talking 12 games in your home arena in this type of succession. The Knicks got to come out of this with a good record, out of this homestand, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. That's important.
Yes,
that's really important.
And Ron, it's not like that. They're like back-to-back games. There's like 2 pair of back-to-back games, January 17 and 18, and then it's going to be January 29th and 30. And then it's like, a day off, 2 days off. So it's not like they can blame it all because it was a back-to-back. So you got a day off.
You know what?
You're sitting home. So I think this stretch is going to be, the Knicks are going to gain way momentum as far as the standings go. Because we play good teams, but it's still home. And
to that point, Andy is going to actually say, "Oh, no, that's great because we're also one of the youngest teams in the NBA." But unfortunately, the counter to that is that our coach plays our players long minutes, so it offsets where we're young enough to recover back to back against a lot of teams that are older. But then when we're playing 40+ minutes each, it may affect us on the back-to-back. So back-to-back I thought was going to be good for us because we're young, but bad because this plays a long time. So it kind of breaks even for those older guys who back-to-back would make them fatigued and try to recover slower. But they may only play 30 minutes each when we're playing 40+ minutes as our starters. So, but that's a great idea. The lack of back-to-back is great for all around for anybody, young or old.
Right.
So, great
Right.
observation, man.
No,
13.
so-
I got to call Brooklyn home, man. Forget about it. Brooklyn is home. Okay, the Knicks own that. Okay, Nets fans don't show up. So 13 or 14 games is literally in New York City.
That's crazy. That is crazy. And then we get 2 of those February 1st, and then another one February 10th with Indiana and Obi. So that's definitely man, it's gonna be an interesting time. I like it. I like this a lot. This is pretty cool. But the flip side of this is that it could. I mean, I don't know how it translates the opposite way. No, they're still mixing it up, man. This is very home centric for all those home games. Then you still get home games mixed in here. Wow, interesting. So I'm just kind of looking through. I'm trying to see what's the really tough time. We saw one little stretch of maybe 6 or 7 games. Philadelphia back-to-back, Portland, Sacramento, Golden State, Denver, Brooklyn. So maybe this is another little one,
Yeah, but it's not long. It's not like
4, 6, 7. It's like 7, 6 or 7. Right. Then we're breezing through. Okay, here's another one. Maybe let's say if we start with Miami, Sacramento, Chicago, Milwaukee, Chicago, Boston, Brooklyn, Chicago. Oh, that's the end of the season. Those are always tough too.
Yeah, but probably Chicago is going to be tanking. So those last 3 games they're going to be playing young guys.
That's fair. So we got to see. All right. Let me read the super chat real quick. Shout out to my guy Paris Duggan. Thank you for the generous super chat. He says, does Randall have pressure to prove himself in the in-season tournament? I say he has to start showing he can be special in higher stakes games. Yeah, the in-season tournament is something that they definitely the Knicks can use that as a prep for the playoffs, right? How can we show a strong showing? Can we treat this like these games matter? There's some importance to it. It's high level stakes, and so maybe that will help some of these guys who have struggled in the past in the playoffs get more comfortable. The Quickleys, the Grimeses, the Julius Randles of the world. What you guys think, Andy? What's your thoughts on that?
To be true, I think this first year when they have the in-season tournament, I don't think the player is going to care that much, to be true. I would even, because these games count as regular season games, so I don't see them turning it up because we can win $500,000 if we win the whole thing. I think the NBA players are not gonna care because this is a special game, counts as double and stuff like that. I don't see that. If you win all the 4 games, then it might be more interesting because it's going to be like a bracket thing and you're going to add 1 game. Because if I'm sure Steph counted the schedule and it's 81 games, so depending on the result of those 4 games, you're going to have 1 extra game in the schedule, differing the results of those games, and whoever won, whoever lost, they're going to be playing each other, right? So me personally, I think it's not going to be pressure for Randall. I don't think he's going to care, just like the rest of the guys. Like I said, if they win the 4 games, I think the most guys that will earn is going to be the guys that have the smallest contracts, the McBrides, the Jericho Sims of the league, right? Guys that earn like $2 million a year, $500,000 is going to be plenty of money for them. But if a guy has like 60 million, $500,000, he can be like, listen, you guys can suit up for me. I'm going to take a day off. So I think that's going to be the case. I don't think it's some kind of prestige or whatever for a guy that we won the first Commissioner's Cup or whatever in season tournament. I don't think that they had the tournament has the cachet like that. unless they ante up the stakes in the future. So maybe it's going to be worth it, right? And I think, even the star players, for example, even if Randall wins or Brunson wins, I see many of these top level players giving back the money to some kind of charities and stuff like that. I'm not expecting it from guys, deeper down on the roster, like those, like I said before, the Deuces McBrides and those guys that have, below, $10 million contracts. But those guys that get 30, 40 million a year, I think for them it's going to be a great PR move. Listen, I'm going to give it out for, a foundation or whatever. I think that's going to be the route they go.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's fair. That makes sense. Wiz, what's your thoughts?
I love that question, Parrish. I mean, it's so rare for me to say that, and I love a question Parrish has. But this is a good one, Parrish. I actually think it is a sign. It would be a good sign for him to be in a higher pressure than Brunson game, and have him perform well for people to start to, I think, for his own psyche, and then for the fan psyche, for him to do well. So I do think there's some pressure, but it would be it's an opportunity for him to slowly get into that rhythm of a higher stake game, do well, preparing them for the playoffs, and then everybody's level of tension, anxiety goes down. So yeah, I think it's supposed for him to perform well in this scenario. At least his standard game minimum, 24-8 or something, and not, and definitely efficient shooting. I'd be happy to see that. So yes, I love it.
I think that makes sense. I agree. I think this is they whatever they can. I mean, I understand, and I agree with Andy too. I think the Knicks should try to use it to help, put these guys in that type of mindset. But I agree. Whenever you do something the first time around, it's tough for, to be accepted and people to get acclimated to, knowing that really, I think the biggest incentive is like the winning team players do get like $500K or something like that per player. But, if you win, right? So, but if you don't win, you just, you're looking at it like it's just another NBA game. So we'll see. And then how do the organizations do this with the whole load management thing for this particular in-season tournament? Does load management not matter? So I'm interested to see how this all plays out, how they take this seriously. We'll see. But it'll be fun to see them try to do something different. I hope it works out, and then it's something that they can kind of build off of going forward, and then they can figure out a better way to incentivize teams. I think they just want to try it out and get it going, and then we'll go from there. But thank you once again for the generous super chat, Parrish. Appreciate you as always, my brother. He also says, "Hey, and starting at power forward for the Eastern Conference 2024, Obi Toppin." Hey, calm down, Parrish. I don't know about that. We'll see. Obi's got to show me he can get the minutes on Indiana now. Now we got to see, because Indiana got a lot of players over there, man. We got to see. Yeah, I mean, but that's pretty much it, guys. That's kind of my show for today. I just want to kind of get a couple things out there so we can talk about it as we get into actual NBA basketball in the Knicks season. We'll be able to kind of flesh this stuff out. We'll know what the Knicks actually look like on paper, and maybe some of these games, because now I gotta be honest, I'm looking at it and I see 3 different tests, right? One test out the gate, just like some good games, you know what I mean? No big deal. I'm not worried about the Knicks. I think they'll have a good record in all of those games. Then you got the one that we talked about before, which was kind of encompasses a West Coast trip, right? And then maybe the other one is at the end of the season. But as Andy pointed out, it's the end of the season. Maybe teams aren't even playing some of their players. Playoff stuff is already kind of decided. Teams might be tanking, or who knows? So don't even have to worry. Knicks might have a nice run, guys. Somebody been saying 60 wins, and I'm like, yo, that's crazy. This is the Knicks. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see around high 56, 57. Listen, I don't know, guys.
And
it's an 81 game season.
Try to win every game. Teams are going to try to win every game, even their last game. So.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. You never know, man. I don't know. It's not far fetched. The Knicks could go on a nice run. The one thing the Knicks do have playing in their favor in this regard. Yes, they lost Obi. I get it. But everybody else is here with the addition of DiVincenzo. Now, if something happens later and we wind up trading Fournier, who knows if we add another player at that point. But right now, this team is pretty much the same with an addition. We did lose Obi. So at least these guys already know, all right, we played with Jalen Brunson last year and Julius. We know how the system works. We know their roles. The defensive system for Thibodeau. That's a good thing. Some of these teams got multiple changes. Like they got to learn the coach, the system, all that stuff. They got to learn their role. The Knicks don't have that problem, so that's an advantage that they do have. So let me get around.
By the way, before we
go ahead.
Who else does have that in our conference? That's actually a top playoff team. So we can eliminate Miami and Toronto and even Philly is going to be struggling with. I mean, they may have the same team, but it's psychologically not the same. Boston lost Smart, so that's a big piece, but it's not huge, but it's big enough to possibly cause some chemistry. But Cleveland,
they added, right?
Added. They didn't lose their starters. They actually added.
The Magic are going to be better than last season.
Cleveland.
I think you got to watch
Indiana. So Indiana, Cleveland, Magic.
Atlanta is in ours, or they?
Yeah. But they were struggling. I mean, I'm looking at guys who actually were in the. Well, Atlanta didn't make the playoffs. Right? I mean, they were playing, right? They lost in the playoffs. So I'm looking at the stronger teams. But yeah, so I think
Nets. I think the Nets are gonna drop before comparing to what they had last season because they got the record a little bit higher than anticipated before the KD trade, and then they lost a couple of games, but they still were, they had a cushion that KD did. I think this season is not going to be that much.
So I feel good about the chemistry of us continuity-wise, but coolest. I'm sorry, but yeah, I think continuity-wise, we're in the top 4 teams that maintain continuity on the offense as far as starters and major impact players. Only guy for us was obviously, Obi, the ECF, MVP for next year, and for Boston losing Smart for KP is their one thing. So I feel confident about it, but I just want to make sure we weren't looking like we're the only team that did that. We're just probably one of the better, but Milwaukee also, right? They maintain. So we're 4 teams, four very competitive teams, pretty much maintain their squad, which means if we're using that as a criteria, that's who we're still top 4 in that from that category, that point of view.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Last season I was hoping the Knicks are gonna be top 6 because of just I don't want to be in the play-in situation, and we managed to pull that one off. We were not seeded number 5th, right? I think this season we could be top 4 because of the consistency. These first 20 games, we don't have to build that much chemistry. I think DiVincenzo is going to fit really easily to this Tibbs puzzle. That's why I think, we get a good start. We have that home stretch, from half January. So we can gain a little bit there. Then, a couple of games at the end of the season that probably not every team is going to compete, but we know Tibbs. And I think that's why, I'm not a huge fan of putting out the number of W's that we're going to have, if it's going to be 50 or 52, 55. I rather, us be, higher in the standings. And I think, top 4 should be the goal. And is actually kind of a realistic one. So,
yeah. I mean, I think that's definitely what they should be doing. They should try to aim for that, and they should be able to get it. I think they should. I think the Knicks are a really good team, not elite once again, but a really good team in comparison to a lot of the other teams in the Eastern Conference. I think the Knicks will be right there in the end. And if they really overachieve, they might hit that 3rd seed if they really overachieve. But I think I could pencil them in. I think they could get 4. And I don't think it's going to be that crazy.
About today,
right.
They merited those movements, those pieces.
Yeah, anything can. We got to see how it all plays out. Yeah, anything can happen. But D Coolest, man, I don't know, bro. That 45-49 wins. Wow. I think the Knicks can do better than that easily. Remember, this is a full season of Josh Hart. And I think here's the other thing that I wanted to say. Oh, this is gonna hurt. Ooh, they ain't gonna like this one. I think that for those people that might be saying the Knicks are really gonna miss having Obi here, I get it. But what I'm gonna tell you is that I think DiVincenzo is going to replace what Obi gave us. And now listen, understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he can replace what Obi could have given us. Because remember, the whole point of Obi being here is that he doesn't get enough playing time. He doesn't get the opportunities he needs behind Julius Randle and Tibbs playing him. So we haven't seen all of that stuff. What I'm saying is, for what we did see of Obi and the points and production he gave us, I think DiVincenzo will match that. It's going to go somewhere. Either DiVincenzo will match it, or maybe Grimes picks up and adds more to his game. But I think DiVincenzo will match that same point production that Obi gave us. So I really don't think we're going to lose a lot with Obi. I know it's not. It sounds bad, but just being fair, we already talked about how Obi didn't get the shot that most Knicks fans think he should have gotten. So you can't say that it's something we're going to really lose, because we never got to see the full tangible output from Obi. So now, I will say that I do think that Obi can be better offensively than DiVincenzo. I think Obi, if you give Obi 25 plus minutes a game, Obi could put up some numbers. And Andy, every time he gets high level minutes, he puts up good numbers as far as points. He puts up high numbers.
But did you see DiVincenzo's games? He can light it up. He can light it up, and I think that's what the Knicks are missing. So I easily see him averaging above 10, 12, even 13 points a game for the Knicks.
I can see that. Yeah, that's why I think.
But I think it's easily. And as far as fans looking for a player to fan from the Knicks, I think DiVincenzo is going to take Obi fans first week.
I think I was gonna say I'm Obi Hive, and but I do see that DiVincenzo will give us some of what that Obi spark is, because just sometimes those 3-point shots, the fluidity of it and the way it's gonna look, he takes that, and he's still very athletic. So even that part of the game, he's gonna be in the top 3 of our guys. A little injury has slowed him down some, but he's still above Grimes and those guys athletically still right now.
And he's going to win the hearts of New York fan base with a little bit more defense easily. So
I agree with that. And shoot, I was going to say something with regards to, what was it? Was it Obi? David Smith said, let me get to that right before D Coolest, and then we get out of here. David Smith said, not true. Who at backup power forward will score more than Obi Toppin did? Listen, what I love to tell people, because we get caught up in what we're used to and roles, right? It does not have to be that. Being that we had Julius Randle here, and that we had Obi Toppin, who's an offensive type player, you would expect Obi's game to contribute offensive numbers from the bench role or whenever spot minutes he gets, right? But that's just how the Knicks had set it up. That was the role of the players we had. Other teams have production from their power forward, and their backup does nothing. Their backup comes in, maybe plays a little defense, gets a couple rebounds here and there, passes the ball to the other offensive players on the team, and those guys score. All I'm telling you is, what you're missing from Obi, the Knicks are going to move that ball around. You're going to get it from a guard, or you may get it from somewhere. It doesn't have to come from the power forward role. You don't have to get points from your power forward because you got Julius Randle here. Now, if we didn't have Julius here, that's different. But Julius is the majority of the minutes, the majority of the scoring on the team is coming from that power forward starting position. So I don't think whoever comes behind him, it's going to matter what they're doing. We're going to get the points somewhere else. That point, the person at power forward may have to rebound. They may have to play solid defense to kind of keep us in the game. But I think you're too focused on the roles. You don't got to look at it that way. Points are going to come from somewhere else on the team. The Knicks are going to figure out. That's what teams make adjustments. Now, to D. Coolis, he said, Ron, it's basically the same squad, bro. Teams see what the Heat did against us and now has us figured out. Watch. Well, that may be true. You can have the blueprint, but that doesn't mean you can execute it. The Heat are the Heat. Okay, the Heat knocked off a lot of teams in this playoffs to get to the finals. All right, so other teams may know what you're trying to do. The Heat are limited offensively, and teams couldn't stop the Heat. You can have an idea, but if you don't got the proper personnel, the proper orchestration, and how you're going to carry it out, doesn't mean you can stop it. The Knicks are a very vanilla offensive team, but it works. And if they can come out and play better team defense this year than they did last year, it'll put them in a better position to win these games. So I just think you can know what's happening, but if you can't, basically carry out what you think you can because you don't have the right personnel, it don't really matter. We got to see. It's every year we always look at the Knicks. Oh, can they beat this team? Whatever about the other teams? Can they beat the Knicks? You know what I mean? We do it every year. The Knicks are always the underdog, and yet every year they're surprising, except for 2 years ago. That was a bad year. But usually the past 4 years, they've been surprising us. It is what it is. It is what it is. So let me get the last words to everybody. Andy, last words, my brother, and thank you for being here as always.
Ron, it was a pleasure. Like I told you, several times, whenever I'm going to be, free, available, I can, and I can set up my Saturday so I can be with you. I'm going to do that. Wiz, always good to see you and, chop it up. Great questions and statements from people from the chat. Listen, one thing that I can add, if Team Canada with RJ Barrett loses to Team France, led by Evan Fournier, I'm doing an episode on NBK. Book that. Okay. I'm going to bring you the box score, the highlights, everything to show you guys that, we Knicks fans forget about our players. So,
yeah. Shout out to Jay from PR. What's good, bro? Good to see you, man. I know you just came in. Watch the replay, man. We had a good conversation today, man. I think it'll be at least watch as much as you can. It's a long show. Salute. Smash that like button on your way in. Smash that like button on your way out, guys. Show some love. We got to get these algorithms. I'm gonna get back on the like train, man. It's important. Sometimes we overlook it, but as a content creator, I got to focus on the likes because YouTube cares about that. So if y'all can hit that like button, I appreciate it. Wiz, any final words, my brother?
First, again, be on the show with you guys. Ron, Andy, brilliant minds. Pleasure and honor. I was about to shout out PR, Puerto Rico. But people know Puerto Rico is it's part of the U.S., so I was going to say all the different countries, but I'm like, Puerto Rico is U.S. Talking about all the Americans who don't realize that Puerto Rico is part of the U.S., the U.S. citizens. But South America's in there. We got Andy in Europe represented. So we definitely international, Ron. You want international, son. I'm optimistic about the season. I think the DiVincenzo Obi swap is not a negative for us. It may be a slight positive, actually, especially for both of them, for Obi's sake, and definitely for the next shooting sake. Randall's coming off his injury may also be a good thing because it gives him a chance to get his mental side together and, again, watch tapes and stuff like that where he start to figure the game out intellectually instead of purely physically. Like last summer, he did pure body work, and he need to come in more with his IQ and his knowledge of the game and vision of the game. So I think it may be a good thing that he got his body some rest, got recovered, and hopefully, and some of the injury, it looks like that's one that's kind of like debilitated. It's the one that has been recovered from many times by a lot of guys. So his kind of body is built to recover from this kind of injury and gives him a chance to actually look at the game from a different point of view. I think Tibbs watching the Americans play, the way they play with JB is a huge plus, not just for JB playing that style, but maybe Tibbs seeing the potential of how we can be used and not the way his limited offensive mentality has been for the past year. So plus, man, Josh Hart full season with that kind of, give me that 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 2-3 steals, 2 blocks every game, and that energy. Man, I just feel good about the season. But unfortunately, I am tempered by, I forgot to think of JJ, somebody put in there, 60 wins, first round exit. No, do not give me that. And that's one of my fears is ball out in the regular season, flop in the playoffs. And for me, a flop is sub ECF. I cannot go second round and think 60 wins was, oh, look how good we did. I want ECF as a winning season. So give me 50 wins in ECF rather than give me 60 wins in second round knockout or worse. And that's where I'm feeling right now. Prepared for excellent number of wins, whether 50 or 60, but ECF Knicks all the way. But thanks for having me on here.
Appreciate you, Wiz, as always. Thank you for being here, my brother. Always a pleasure to have you. Shout out to Knicks 100 once again. He said we had 37 wins 2 years ago, Ron. The year prior, we only had 42 wins. That wasn't a bad season. But the year prior, we had 42 wins and made the 4th seed and got into the playoffs. You know what I mean? We had 37 wins, and it was not the same type of season, was it? So, you know what I mean? That's why it looks worse. I get it. I hear you. It's only a 5-game difference, but it was a big difference as far as the impact that the Knicks had overall and where we took that for the season. So, yeah, that part is what makes it different. But I hear what you're saying. I got you. It's not, and that's why I say it's not that hard for us to have more wins this season and be a better team. We can do it. I mean, we have a solid foundation and we got good things going on. You know what I like to say? You know how Papa John's has the better pizza, better ingredients, Papa John's. Well, it's better players, better ingredients, the New York Knicks. So, and I'm gonna coin that phrase. I'm gonna start using it. Don't worry, it's happening. So yeah, just this, and this is another thing, guys. Look, I know some of y'all ain't ready, but I want y'all to do this with me, right? Plant your feet, right? Wherever you're at in your home, plant your feet. You know what I mean? Get comfortable, get in the right stance, look towards the window, right?
See if I know the ledge.
And jump out the window with me. 50 wins for these New York Knicks. Let's go, baby. We're ready. We're ready.
And France,
anyway.
I'm going to keep a France now because I want Eddie to do a broadcast. So
there you go. There you go. All right, guys. Well, I want to thank you guys once again for being here. Like I said, smash that like button on your way in. Smash that like button on your way out. Shout out and thank you once again to my guys, Andy and Wiz, for joining me and showing love and popping up and having good conversation, man. Thank you guys once again. Can't thank you enough. And appreciate to all you guys in the chat for all your input. Thank you for the super chats, all that good stuff, for showing love to the show. And please, if you haven't already, like I said, check out SKF Weekly from this past Monday with myself and John and the Morning Brew Sports crew. We had a really great conversation. It was pretty dope. And also check out our new show on NBK called the NBA Wrap Up. You know, we're mixing hip hop with the NBA. So you're getting a conversation about basketball as well as some hip hop information with artists out there showing their love of hip hop and the NBA, and also putting their talents out there on showcase, you know, showing what they do. So and you know, if you guys or anybody out there is like someone who's you know, either is a hip hop artist or likes to rap, or if you're someone who makes your own individual beats and want to put that on display, more than welcome. We'd love to have you on the show. So appreciate you guys once again. As I always say, tell a friend who tells a friend who tells another friend. Still, Knicks fans will be back again, whether it be on Saturdays for Know the Ledge, Mondays for SKF Weekly with myself and John, or on Thursday nights for the NBA Wrap-Up at 8:30 on the Nothing But Knicks channel. Please show your love and support all our shows. We thank you. It's been great. Have a great rest of your Saturday. The weather's beautiful depending on where you're at. Enjoy yourselves and be there for your family and your loved ones, and take care of yourselves. So I'm out of here.
We out.